I'd like to call tonight's meeting, which is the regular board meeting of May 21st, 2024, to order. At this time, I would like the color guard to advance for the Pledge of Allegiance. All rise.
Color guard, left hand, hut. Color guard, forward, arms. Color guard, right, face. Color guard, forward, march. Left, 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 right, left, 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 left. Halt. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, color guard, present, pause. I pledge allegiance
to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, pause. Right, peace. Forward, march. Left, 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 right, left, 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 left.
Chief.
Left, left, left.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here at tonight's meeting. Chief Keller will now explain who these young people are.
I'm actually going to bring Lieutenant Way up here, if he's back there. Lieutenant Way. Be much better at explaining it. I'll give a brief synopsis. That would be
Should we
great.
all be standing?
Our Explorer program. Explorer program. That's excellent. If you want.
Please be seated.
Thank you. I'm Lieutenant Jeff Way with the White Lake Township Police Department, the program director for the White Lake Township Police Department Police Explorers. It's a program we started last year under the direction of Supervisor Kowal and Chief Keller. The Explorers are part of the Boy Scouts of America. It involves young people ages 14 to 20 to meet regularly, train with police officers, and learn about law enforcement as a possible career choice. So we have approximately 14 young people that have been involved with us for the past year. We meet monthly, basically. They learn the skills and the tactics and strategies that we do. They're involved in the community events as well. They helped out with the open house last year. They've done traffic stops last year. We did Scout Day at the Capitol. So it's obviously a great group and a privilege for them to have been here for the Pledge of Allegiance with you guys today. I want to especially thank AMVET's local posts, Dave and Larry. You want to come up? So we had an AMVET's member, Jim Allen, was a member of our White Lake CERT program. He recently passed away. One of the things Mr. Allen said to his friends at AMVET's was, I want you to continue what he started with us, with the AMVET's and the Explorers. Mr. Allen saw to it that the Explorers were donated the flags and the flagpoles and the pedestals. And so they started, the AMVET's, Dave and Larry started to come out to some of the meetings, being involved, talking about America, the Constitution, and the rule of law and honor, and as it relates to community and to serving your country. So they've come out the last couple meetings, and they helped guide the young people with the marching and the orders and things like that. If you don't mind, I really appreciate your guys' time and volunteerism and dedication to the community and our country. Do you guys mind helping me join them in a round of applause for service? So thank you for allowing the young people, the explorers, to be involved with that. If anybody knows a young person in the area that's interested, just reach out to me, Lieutenant Way at the department, and we'll get you involved as best we can as soon as possible. So again, thank you for that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Also, at this time, I'd like to do a roll call, please.
Supervisor Colwell.
Here.
Treasurer Roman.
Here.
Clerk Noble here. Trustee Smith.
Here.
Trustee Voorhees.
Present.
Trustee Powell.
Here.
Trustee Ruggles.
Here. I'm looking for a motion for approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
I have a motion to approve, looking for support.
Support.
I have a motion from Anthony Noble, support from trustee Voorhees. All in favor? Aye. The ayes have it. Next item is public comment. It is the policy of this board to allow public comment at this time for items that are not on the agenda. Again, not on the agenda. If your item is on the agenda, you will have at the appropriate time to speak. So at this time, if your item is not on the agenda, you will have 3 minutes to state your business. You will have to state your name for the recorder. Any takers at this time by show of hands? Seeing none, moving on. Closing public comment, going to consent agenda. Mr. Powell?
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented, and I'll just, for the public's sake, the board reviews the revenue and expense reports, the check disbursements, the department reports of the police and fire, community development, and the treasurer. They're very lengthy and they're extremely boring, so we approve them or not approve them in one vote, and I move to approve.
I have a motion to approve by Mr. Powell. Looking for support?
Support.
I have support from Anthony Noble. All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Minutes of the meeting, 7A and 7B. Approval of the minutes of the special board meeting on March 7th, 2024. Approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting, April 16th, 2024. Questions or comments from the board?
I have a small correction for the
Trustee Smith.
April meeting, page 4, my comment. I just need the word insert not in there, not set in stone. That's my, I sent it to Douglas, but I just didn't see it corrected yet.
Which month are you referring to?
It's page 4,
She said April.
April.
I'm sure he's going to correct
And
it.
Mr. Supervisor?
Yes.
I also found something that really needs to be corrected, and that's the March 7th special board meeting minutes. Page 2, the first paragraph, the 6th line down, starts with flagpoles, irrigation systems, base coverage, and revision of the retaining, that those should be walls, not retaining mall.
Anything else? So duly noted.
So, Mr. Supervisor, with the approval of the modifications, I move approval of the minutes of the special board meeting on March 7th, 2024, and the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of April 16th, 2024, as corrected.
I have a motion to approve the meetings from March 7th and April 16th by Mr. Powell. Looking for support?
Support.
I have support from Andrew Voorhees. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Motion carries. 8A, presentation, Police Department, Chief Keller. Floor is yours.
Lieutenant Way. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Thank you, the rest of the board. This is a great day for the White Lake Police Department, really the community in general. Super proud, got a lot of goosebumps with those young men and women who came up here and did such an excellent job. They only had a couple times to rehearse that, and they did it flawlessly, and it was a great cadence. They did a great job. They were a little nervous back there, but they really killed it, and I'm super, super proud of them. So the next thing that I want to talk about is CERT. CERT stands for
Community Emergency Response Team.
Community Emergency Response Team. So these guys are the backbone of the police department and really the fire department too. They help us when we don't have enough men and women to do what we need to do because we have other stuff to do. So these guys give up their time and their effort to help the community in general. They make us a better police department, better fire department, and a better community because they support us when we need them. It was a great program. I'll let Lieutenant Jeff Way speak about it a little more. We decided to collaborate with Waterford Township, so it was a group effort. It was a regional effort to enhance the quality of life that we have here in White Lake and now in Waterford. So it was a great team effort. I was able to go to their graduation, and it was such a humbling experience to see these folks give their time to White Lake Township just because they want to, which is awesome. I appreciate every single one of them. I appreciate what they do on the effort that they're giving to the township to make us better. I'm going to let Jeff Way take it from here.
Thank you, Chief. The White Lake Township Police Department would like to recognize its newest Community Emergency Response Team, or CERT members. On February 19th of this year, 11 area residents completed the CERT Basic Training Academy. The CERT Basic Training Academy course of instruction was a 6-week program that included 9 training sessions of 2 to 3 hour instructional blocks that concludes with a final exam. CERT Basic Training covers topics related to police and fire calls for service in which available resources might not be enough at the time of a large-scale incident. CERT Basic Training includes classroom instruction and practical exercises that covers topics such as disaster preparedness, CERT organizational structure, disaster psychology, first aid and patient assessments, medical treatment areas, fire safety and suppression, light search and rescue, and domestic and foreign acts of terrorism. The most recent CERT graduates completed their training with the final exam on March 25th of this year, and then with a graduation ceremony with the Waterford CERT trainees on March 27th. In addition to the basic training, all the newest White Lake CERT volunteers have been certified in CPR by American Red Cross Certified Trainer Officer Matt Kazmika of our department, and have also completed an instructional course on the proper administration of Narcan by the Oakland Community Health Network. With the addition of these 11 CERT volunteers, White Lake Township CERT is now approximately 45 members strong, including 2 current township board members. As a result of their dedication to the White Lake Township community, we'd like to present each new CERT volunteer with a certificate of appreciation for their completion of the CERT basic training. So CERT members, when I call your name, if you would, please. Ruth Cagle. Her husband, Bill Cagle. Put your better side.
11 in this class. I think it's the third.
Patricia Dunn. Tom Dunn, her husband. Scott and Renee Romilly. Also married.
I got this book then, too. Be here for about 5 hours.
I know.
It's so hot in here.
Oh, yeah. You get a lot of
I think, yeah.
things like see-through or whatever, you know?
It's one the death.
Give me Kelly. Christopher and Kelly Russell. Miss Jill Short.
Thank you. Thanks. Oh, okay. 2 for me. Thanks.
Lori Sullivan.
All right, last one.
And Kathy Zazula.
Again, I appreciate every one of you graduating and just, you're going to become an integral part of White Lake Township, and we appreciate every single one of you. A round of applause. It's okay, Mr. Supervisor, we'll move on to the swearing in. Thank you, Suzanne.
Chief, would you use the remote microphone?
Absolutely, I would.
Isn't it in front of you on the stand?
It
No?
is not.
He took it away.
Yes.
You know, just a little word to the public here. You might be wondering, CERT, what do they do? Well, any of you remember the tornado? Okay, all right. I will tell you that I worked tirelessly with many, many CERT members until the sun was coming up the next morning, cutting trees and clearing the roads so that we could make sure the emergency vehicles could get through to Huron Valley Hospital, not knowing the extent of the casualties or damages that we had that night. So it was a very interesting experience and very adrenaline running. But that group was there and participated, and I was definitely proud to be there to assist them in the way that I could. So that's just one of the many, many things they've done.
And if I may, Treasurer Roman and I are your fellow CERT members, so I just want to take a minute to welcome you to our team. Thanks for being here tonight.
All right, Ann, come on up. All right, everybody, this is Ann Demaray. She's just finished the FTO program, the Field Training Officer program with the White Lake Township Police Department. She's been on her own for a few weeks, so we're going to celebrate her today. Attending with Ann is her mom, Jan. Say hi. Yes. Yeah. Dad, Tim. All right. Her Aunt Gretchen. All right. Thanks, guys, for coming. And surprise to Ann, her cousin Josh Jenkins flew in from Tucson, Arizona, where he is a police officer there, and he'll be pinning on the badge, which I think is absolutely awesome. Oh, yeah. All right. Ann grew up in Melvin, Michigan. Nobody knows where that is, but it's by St. Clair. It's in St. Clair County. Sanilac County? Sanilac County. Even I don't know where it is. Ann grew up in Melvin, Michigan on a farm with her family where they raised farm crops and dairy cows. Ann attended Peck High School in Peck, Michigan, where she graduated in 2020 as the school's salutatorian. Excuse me. She's really smart. That's what that means. During her time at Peck High School, she was part of the National Honor Society Youth Advisory Council and played in the high school band, and was also part of the varsity volleyball and softball, where she was team captain for both. After high school, Ann attended St. Clair County Community College, where she earned an associate's degree in criminal justice and general education in 2021. And then attended Ferris State University, Go Dogs, where she completed her Bachelor's of Science degree in criminal justice, graduated summa cum laude in May of 2023. Following graduation, Ann attended the Mott Community College Law Enforcement Regional Training Academy, from which she graduated in the fall of 2023. During her time at the academy, Ann was offered a position with the White Lake Township Police Department, and upon graduation, immediately started her career at White Lake Township Police Department, and we were happy she did. Some personal things. In her free time, Ann enjoys time outdoors, hiking, fishing, milking cows. Is that? No, not milking cows. Kayaking and playing beach volleyball. When she can, Ann enjoys traveling with family and friends. So we're gonna have Anthony, the clerk noble, swear her in, and then you can come on up and pin the badge on after. That sounds good.
Please raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of the office of police officer for the Township of White Lake, County of Oakland, and the state of Michigan according to the best ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Congratulations, Ann.
Thank you, Deputy Ann.
Welcome.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
All right, Izzy, you ready? Nope. So, before I get started on Isabella, we're all family. Love, hate, get along, don't get along. We have a police family that are all back there standing up, and they are here really to celebrate Ann and Izzy and their accomplishments. So I truly appreciate the men and women of the police department for showing up and giving the support to not only the township, but the White Lake Police Department. All right, Izzy, here we go. Attending today for Isabella McCrum is her mom, Rachel. All right. Her dad, Christopher. There, thank you, Christopher. I truly appreciate you getting into that one, right? Boyfriend, Brendan. All right. And pinning Isabella today will be her mom, Sheila. I'm sorry, where's her aunt? Her aunt. Okay, yes, hi. There we go. So Isabella grew up in Highland Township with her family. She attended Lakeland High School, where she was on the varsity snowboard team, for which she was the captain and led her team to the state championship. In addition to snowboard, she also played volleyball and spent 15 years as a dancer. After graduating from Lakeland, she enrolled in Oakland Community College, as well as obtaining a job here at the White Lake Police Department as a cadet. She worked for approximately a year and a half doing both cadet work and completing her associate's degree at Oakland Community College. At the end of her associate's degree, Isabella was sponsored by the White Lake Township Police Department at the Oakland Police Academy, where she graduated both as a certified police officer in the state of Michigan, but also completing the requirements for her degree. Isabella has been working as a patrol officer for White Lake since graduation and recently completed her field training and began her career as a solo police officer. Okay, in her spare time, Isabella enjoys volunteering for various charitable organizations, including those within the police department and outside. Isabella has cited that she has wanted to be a police officer for a very long time, is excited to start her career in law enforcement. Now, this is one of these, Isabella, we are lucky enough to be homegrown, and that's why you see the explorers back there. They grow up, and some of them get to become cadets who get to grow up and get to become police officers and hopefully grow within the White Lake Police Department. So she's a shining example of what it means to start from explorer or cadet and moving up to be part of this community. So I'm going to let Anthony swear in.
Do you remember our first cup of coffee? I got the opportunity to meet Isabella getting Big B coffee, and she had a Ferris State University. So I suggested her to go down and apply, and the chief has great eye for talent. Both chiefs do, and Chief Keller hired her as a cadet, and here we are, get to swear in. So what a privilege to swear both individuals in today. Raise your right hand for me, please. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of the Office of Police Officer for the Township of White Lake, County of Oakland, and State of Michigan, according to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
Ready to go.
Thank you.
Officer Isabella.
Thank you for staying home.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome is that?
All right, that's it. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate that. Obviously, you can see the importance of the programs that we have here in the township. Our community has had outreach programs to our youth and the community for many, many years. Although in the last few years, it's sort of become fashionable. We were looking at it going, where's everybody been? White Lake's been doing this for a long time. So the proof is in the pudding. We've been able to bring some people in that are, homegrown, so to speak. And with that, at this time, I would like to move on to the fire department. Chief, come on up here. Chief Holland is our fire chief, for those of you who may not know him.
Give everybody a chance to kind of file out, but what an exciting night, right?
Yep.
We don't usually get to share this platform with the police and fire to just to, recognize the good things with the departments. We have a couple things tonight. I want to introduce to the board our new chaplain, and also we have a swearing in of a probationary member who just completed his probation, and a promotion from a firefighter to a sergeant. But I do want to talk about the chaplain first. This is a brand-new program with the fire department. I've been here now, I'm coming up on 39 years. In 39 years with the department, we have never had a chaplain. And when I left the fire marshal position, I became the chief, I really seen that there was a deficiency here. There was a lot of things in the department we needed to do. Once I took over, there were some things I felt important we needed to do. We did the Advanced Life Support Program, and we really started making good strides in our department. I have an excellent, outstanding staff to help me. The one thing I think we were deficient in is our guys. The most important thing in this organization is our people. We have to invest in them. We invest in these guys with their training. We invest in their personal protective equipment. The one thing I felt we really weren't is the mental health and wellness of these guys. Like any first responder, police or fire, these guys see the worst of the worst. And you know what they do? They get up the next day and they come right back to work again. So I felt it's so important that we do this for these, and we have a lot of things in play, but the chaplain is going to be a big part of this. He's going to provide spiritual help for these guys in anything they need. And he's not only here just for the bad times, he's going to be here for the good times too. When we have promotions, I want him here with our department. When we have our open house, it's important he's here with us. And he's also going to be here as an excellent tool for the command staff of our department. If they're if they're dealing with a scenario that they feel they need him on the scene, I want him to bring them out. Pastor Mark Pospisil from the Lakes Area Church, he's graciously accepted this endeavor. This is going to be a lot to take on. I've known him for a couple years, and I think he's going to be a really good fit for our department. I'd like to just bring him up here and let him say a couple words, and just so you can put a face with the name.
Good evening, White Lake Township Board and everyone here. I'm excited for this program. I come from 16 years of ministry. I'm a local church pastor in Waterford. I live in White Lake. I love this community, love this city. I was a chaplain at Fort Wayne for 4 years, the head chaplain department. So it's a big need, and I'm excited for our community, for our firefighters, for all those things. And I would also recommend that we can get some more AC and during these meetings. I'm a little warm up here. But other than that, I love our city, I love our community, and I'm happy and honored to be able to serve in this role.
Thank you.
So remember, we talked about the good times. I'm going to have Pastor Mark up here when we recognize our individuals for promotion and we recognize them for the completion of their probation. Mr. Supervisor, with your permission, I'd like to bring my department members up here and the two
Absolutely.
individuals.
Come forward.
Yeah.
Stand right by my side. Hang on to these. Yeah. Keep them two guys in the front.
Worthless.
I'm going to have Andrew and Connor come right up here, though, in the front. Okay. All right. So first I want to talk about is Connor Jensen. Connor came to our career ranks just over a year ago, came from Milford Fire Department. We're taking firefighters from all these departments, right? So it came from Milford Fire Department in our career ranks. And this 1 year probationary period, it really allows us to get to know them. It's an important part of the program. It ensures that they're going to be a good fit for the organization. It evaluates their progress, and it capitalizes on their strengths, and it helps to improve any weaknesses. We measure how well they adapt to a given scenario, and then they exhibit self-confidence in a non-arrogant manner. I'm proud to say that in 1 year's time, firefighter Connor Jensen has fulfilled our probationary expectations, has earned the right to be pinned and recognized as a firefighter EMT with White Lake Township. The badge and the oath symbolizes his willingness to uphold the best interest of the community and the organization. Connor, on behalf of the fire department, congratulations on completing your probation.
Please raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of the office of Fire Sergeant. Oh, but I'm sorry, got it wrong. Firefighter for the Township of White Lake, County of Oakland, and State of Michigan, according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
Wendy. I thought he got a promotion there for a second, too.
Put you up the ranks.
Great job, congratulations.
Congratulations, Con. Thank you for being here.
Congratulations, Mr. Lupa.
Congratulations.
Congratulations again. Okay. You know, at times during your career, you have the distinct opportunity to be recognized for hard work, for dedication and ability through promotion. We're here to recognize and congratulate Andrew Morelli to promotion of shift sergeant. Shift sergeant with our department, it's a little different than some departments. For most departments, that's a shift lieutenant. So the expectation of a shift sergeant is they work an outstation, they supervise an outstation, they're a line officer. And then in the absence of the shift commander, the senior sergeant would act that role and become the shift commander. Andrew started with our department in 2016. He's proven himself as a valuable asset, not only by his ability, but by his conduct as well. Just a easygoing, chill guy, let me tell you. Anything I give him, he follows through. He's kind of he does all our IT stuff for the department too. His professional education includes, but it's not limited to, firefighter 1 and 2 certification, National Registry certification for paramedic and state licensure, company officer level 1 and 2. He's a state certified fire service instructor. He has a bachelor's from Michigan State in biomedical laboratory science. In 2019 and 2021, he was a recipient of a meritorious unit citation. And in 2019, he awarded the Distinguished Service Cross for rescuing an individual from a structure fire. Tonight, it's our privilege and to congratulate now to be known Sergeant Andrew Morelli.
Raise your right hand, please. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of the office of Fire Sergeant for the Township of White Lake, County of Oakland, and State of Michigan according to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations.
There you go. Go ahead. Just greet the board.
Congratulations.
Good job, Andrew. Thank you so much. Yes.
Congratulations, Mr. Nervous.
Congrats and go green. Congratulations.
I hang out with him occasionally, and then I see him so nervous.
That's good.
No, absolutely.
Mike, you caught that, didn't you?
Yeah.
The go.
We'll get a signature there. Mr. Supervisor and board members, thank you for giving us the platform here and letting our department members come up here and show their support. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Yeah. We'll give it a minute here to clear the room.
We should have a board hand.
I'm not sure what to translate it to, but that's right.
He sends proclamations without board approval. So he's probably just gonna read it without a motion. I don't know your board does.
You turn there, colder, can we do colder on the air?
It feels like
65.
64, there you go.
It's a different, like health. In the building. Mr. Supervisor.
Those of you who are warm, this is because this building isn't exactly the best insulated building there is, so we have to kind of adjust as we go here, so we'll try to make it a little more comfortable for everyone. So next item on our agenda, and I'd like to thank both Chief Keller and Chief Holland for your presentations tonight. It's great to see the younger people in our community come forward and move forward, so it's great. Okay, next item is proclamation for Mental Health Awareness Month in May of 2024. It's often a silent illness that doesn't always get the attention that it should, but we're finding out nationally that there are far greater issues than meets the eye. So one of the things that we need to do is be aware of these types of issues. Both fire and PD personnel are trained to handle all types of situations, and now they have also broadened their horizons to try to help persons that have mental health issues. Unfortunately, in the industries as police and fire, that oftentimes they have to deal with people that have emotional issues and/or drug and emotional issues, so it's very difficult. So Mental Health Awareness Month of 2024, and I had the 800 number here. Do you have that handy, Trustee Smith?
No, but I'm happy to look it up for you.
So there is an 800 number that was on my paper here, but somehow got slipped away, that I would like to put out there to the public so that we have that for persons who may need to call. And there's no shame in calling. When you go to a doctor because you broke your foot, you go to a dentist when you have to have a root canal, you go to the chiropractor to get your back adjusted. Sometimes in the coop up here, you need a little help too. And that's not anything to be ashamed of. And I think the stigma for that needs to be taken away in this country, and people need to realize that we as a society need to try to help each other. And I think if we can, we will eliminate a lot of the problems that we have and create a greater understanding for those needs.
Got it. Oakland County 24-hour crisis helpline is 1-800-231-1127. Michigan Crisis Access Line is 1-844-446-4225.
Thank you. So with that, I make a motion to put this proclamation as part of our township awareness, and all of those in favor?
Support?
Motion, support, all in favor? Aye. All right, thank you. Next item. Item is 9A, first reading of 9101 Highland Road Calvary Lutheran rezoning. Now, before anyone has an opportunity to speak about this, the board is going to have some discussion. After that discussion, we will open it up for comment. Limit your comments to your opinion and factual data that you may have. Okay, so, Mr. O'Neill.
Good evening, and thank you. Good evening, members of the board. Before you tonight is a request from 9101 Highland Road, which is parcel number 12-23-227-003, located on the south side of Highland Road, west of Sunny Beach Boulevard. The site's approximately 5 acres in size and has approximately 450 feet of frontage. This was before the Planning Commission last week, Thursday, for a public hearing that's required by the process. And after considerable comment from the public, after presentation by the applicant, by a 5-3 vote, the Planning Commission recommended approval to you. I'll tell you that some of the concerns that we heard from the residents, there were quite a few that spoke, had to do with traffic. That was the biggest issue at this area, and that's not new. Obviously, the folks that live in this neighborhood and those who drive down M59 are aware that there's been a desire for quite some time to have a traffic light at Sunny Beach and M59, and that lies in the hands of MDOT. Unfortunately, that's not something this board or our office can make happen, or I'm pretty certain it would have happened a long time ago. That was a big issue. Obviously, screening was an issue. What we tried to be careful about, this applicant provided a fairly detailed concept plan, and I'm having some computer struggles. It's before you on the screen here. They provided a very detailed concept plan, kind of as an exhibit. They're not held to this. We didn't review this to, or against the standards of the zoning ordinance, but when you're a neighbor and you see this plan, the first thing you think is, well, this is up for approval. This is what's being considered. To be clear, this is just a straightforward rezoning request from R1C, single-family residential, to RB restricted business. So the site plan could change, the ownership could change. The zoning runs with the land, not with any kind of schematic that's shown through the process, straight zoning process. And so a lot of the comments had to do with lighting and screening and noise, all things that any of us would be concerned about if they were going on in our backyard, but that would be something that's dealt with more at the time of site plan. So we talked a little bit about that. There were some concerns about environmental impacts. I think most of the neighbors wanted to see kind of the church use that's quiet left there, but I believe this property has been sold to the applicant. I think that was discussed, so the church is no longer involved. Another issue had to do with driveway spacing and concerns about that, because the applicant provided more than the RTA, the rezoning, or the RTS, a rezoning traffic study, which is a simple trip generation analysis. It says R1C zoning and the current use produce this many trips a day. The RB commercial zoning would produce that many trips a day. Here's the difference, and here are the expected peak times. All the levels of service through this corridor are not great. Some are E and F at certain times a day, including at Sunny Beach, and so that is a concern. It's basically there now. So any one extra trip just makes the F worse or the E a little bit worse. So that is an ongoing struggle in this area of the township. So they did provide a TIS, a full traffic impact study. That had been something that's generally supplied to us at the time of site plan, but they went beyond what was requested, so there was a lot of discussion about that. And again, some of that talks about driveway locations and things like that, which are not part of a rezoning request. So, but again, sometimes too much information, while the intent is good and the purpose of it was good, can cause some frustration or potential confusion. I want to also mention that back in March, I believe it was March, the same applicant was before the Planning Commission, public hearing was held, and there was a recommendation for denial for request to general business, which is slightly more intense than restricted business. So the applicant met with the neighbors, they had a discussion, the township was not, our staff was not involved with it, and they came back with a restricted business request. The one thing that they really want to see as a part of their plan, and it's shown on this conceptual plan, are 2 drive-throughs. There are 2 separate buildings that are shown here. Again, the configuration isn't really important because this isn't what's being considered tonight, but they do intend to have a couple of drive-through users, and that was of some concern to the neighbors as well. And the restricted business district does still allow for drive-throughs, as does the general business district. So it's more of the heavier commercial type uses, adult entertainment type uses that general business does allow beyond. Obviously, that's not what's being discussed here or proposed, but those are some of the differences. But it's largely a similar district. So again, if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them for you. I know the applicant is here and may want to speak as well, and may want to provide some additional insight.
Very good. Any direct questions from the board at this time? Mr. Powell?
I do have some comments, but I think I'd like to wait until the applicant makes his presentation
All right.
and we hear from some
Applicant?
residents.
Can you come forward and introduce yourself to the board, please?
Absolutely. Hi, my name is Reed Cooksey with Stonefield Engineering and Design, representing the applicant today. Again, I think Sean did a great job kind of articulating what we're trying to do here. Again, the purpose of the meeting tonight is to rezone. We provided extra documentation of traffic, of our intent for the site, just because we did want transparency here. At the end of the day, this site, per the recently adopted master plan, is intended to be a commercial site. We hear the concerns of the neighbors. That is why we met with them, to listen to things that maybe they want to see improved from our original layout, including additional green space, additional screening, things of that nature. And we heard that, and that's why we removed our previous application for general business, came back with this restricted business designation, as well as improved the conceptual layout that we brought forward. As far as traffic goes, I know that is a huge concern here. As much as everybody would like to see a light there at the intersection, it's not something we can provide. We do have to go through all permitting through MDOT. The location of our entrance, we've had preliminary discussions with MDOT, and while there is an indication of a variance needed for spacing here, there's nowhere on our frontage that we could put an entrance and not have a spacing variance per the standards. We are providing cross access to the west with this layout, so we are doing everything we can in our power, and MDOT sees it that way as far as access to the site. As far as level of service, I think getting into the weeds, you hear level of service E, F. What does that mean? They aren't A, B, C. Again, everyone's thinking a letter grade when it comes to taking a test. Most major roads you're never going to see anything above a level of service C. D, E, and F are where these large primary roads, highways, sit just because of the significant traffic. Our site is no different. Again, most of the times we're around level of service E. Our trip generation, we show in the TIS that while obviously we will be bringing more traffic to the road than a church or any sort of residential designation here, it does not actually impact the level of service on the road. We're just another piece of the puzzle there. And again, at the end of the day, we are looking for a rezone that aligns with the master plan that you guys recently adopted to have this be a commercial site. We are not asking for the most intensive commercial use here, which the township also found to be in line with the master plan. We pulled that back. We want to bring a great development to the township here. We know we can be successful here. And ultimately, we really want to be in a great community like this. Thanks.
Okay. Any questions at this time from the board?
I don't have any questions.
Any questions? There was a rather extensive packet for the board to review from the Planning Commission, as well as the public hearing that was held on this. So many of the comments that were made were read by the board. So there's quite a bit of knowledge here that we have regarding this. There are some concerns that I have. My biggest concern there is, I have gone 6 ways a Sunday trying to get a light at Sunny Beach with MDOT, and it continues to fall on deaf ears. But I would like to definitely see them do that. I think this is going to make a significant improvement in that area. I travel about the township on a regular basis. I'm up and down that road, and turning left out of there at certain times of day is right next to impossible, okay? I can understand the public's concerns, which is why we do these cross-access agreements throughout the township wherever we can. And Oakland County, MDOT, depending on who has jurisdiction over the road, this case is MDOT, likes to see that happen. Why? One less opening. Why? One less driveway to have potential problems at. But I still think some further push needs to be done on the light for the intersection. And my curiosity is if by some remote chance we were able to get MDOT to actually listen to our pleas, so to speak, would there be any contribution potentially from the development company towards that light?
It's been discussed. We understand that Taco Bell across the street has made a contribution, and we think that, again, if that's what it takes when we get to planning approval, we would consider that, yes.
And there's great concern from the residents of kind of retaining their integrity. Now, I'm going to tell you, I moved out here in 1976, and I used to feed the cows in Kelly's cornfield. I could pick the corn on one side of the fence and walk over to the other side and feed a cow. It was an interesting experience you could do in White Lake at one time. Well, those days are long gone. And White Lake has the M59 corridor, which is destined to become more of a commerce strip throughout the township, and you are going to have that. The most important thing is if and where we have this impact in the community, it has to have absolute minimal impact on the residents that are around it. They have been there, and they do have a certain amount of expectation when something comes in to try to give them their privacy. Now, there has been certain things that are required by the Planning Commission. One of them is the Great Wall of China, okay, that I call. I am not, nor have I ever been a fan of it. I am more of a fan of natural berms and a lot of greenscape landscape. It deadens the sound, it's more pleasant to look at, and it's much more inviting than a masonry structure. And it's a live separation. So these are the types of things that are going to be looked at as things that are going to be necessary if you're going to insert this type of operation in the community. Distance to lot line. you're going to have to tuck that nose right up to the point of M59 easement, right-of-way that will let you do it, so it has the least amount of impact from a sound, smell, headlight, anything of the sort for those types of things. Ergo, a aggressive landscape berm type structure. And that would make a significant difference to the residents. As a matter of fact, if they had that structure there, that would decrease the Jake brake semis stopping at the light at Fisk Road and M59, that echoing sound, architecturally, that could be done in such, from a landscape standpoint, that could be done in such a way that would help benefit them. So those are a lot of things that are going to have to be taken into consideration for this plan to go forward. But my biggest and greatest concern is trying to get a light at that intersection. And if we can get some assurances from your organization that there would be a contribution to that, that may help sway MDOT partially in their decision. And I'm more than happy to put political pressure on them any way that I can, all the way up until the Transportation Secretary of the United States, okay? So these are things that are important to the community. But the concept that you have there is just that. It's a concept, folks. It's not gospel. When you walk in the door, you have to have some kind of an idea of what you're going to do. Something. What are you going to put here? You have to come up with some sort of a plan. This by no means is a plan that would waltz right through the Planning Commission, nor the Township Board. It would be scrutinized. It would be subject to review by the individuals that would be able to attend those meetings and look and see what goes on to have a lesser impact. The downside of living on 59 is the fact that you're always going to have that challenge of potential commercial. The benefit of having someone coming in this particular case, if you can find a benefit, is to try to get the best that you possibly can for your community. In this particular case, Twin Lakes. What is it that you want? It's not going to be a park, unless you all want to ante up. It's not going to be residential. It's not cost effective. The master plan calls for commercial. It will ultimately be commercial. But what falls into the hands of the people that are around it is calm, cool, collective thought processes to sit down and figure out what is going to be the least impactful to you. What is the best thing that you can get out of this, how you want it done? That remains to be seen because you don't have a full-blown plan yet, correct?
No, we just have the conceptual
Just,
idea.
again, did that as a concept plan for the space that was there.
Absolutely.
Configuration of the buildings, locations, proximity of driveway, which of course the driveway, on all driveways on M59 are determined by MDOT. And there's an acronym for that, but I can't repeat it here, okay? So, but that is where and how that process works. It's different when it's not been in your backyard, and I can appreciate that. But the realities of it is that something is going to go there. So you need to look at it and say, do we find what will work and who will work with us the best? Or do we try to forego this, and then when the next group comes along, it simply has enough to challenge it? And being as it may, and in what I've seen, they will most likely win. And at that point in time, all of your destinies are in the hand of a judge at Oakland County, not White Lake Township. And you better hope that he doesn't have a fight with his wife the night before.
So we have some quick comments down here, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Mr. Ruggles, I'll acknowledge you first, and I saw your hand.
Yep. Just a quick question, and I'm not sure who to ask, Mr. Supervisor, maybe Sean. If the money were available and presented to MDOT, would they allow a traffic light?
That's a good question.
We don't know yet.
I don't know. That's a good question.
So I haven't talked to MDOT recently. The last time we met with them, and it was mentioned that there was a contribution made by Taco Bell more than a decade ago when that Taco Bell went in. That was a PB, and part of their community benefit was to donate $10,000, which has been sitting in an account through Mike's office since that time. It's going to cost a lot more than, it's going to cost at least 10 times that to get a light there now.
They're 100,000?
The last,
175?
I don't know. I wouldn't even throw figures around. I don't know. And I don't know what kind of signal they would even prescribe for that area. But last time we talked to them, it doesn't matter if somebody pays for it. It has to meet their warrants. And we talked about this at the Planning Commission, and Mr. Powell's familiar with that. So there's a set of warrants, and some of the things they consider, unfortunately, are serious injury and fatality accidents. Well, that seems like a horribly backwards way to approach things. When you know there's a situation, we talked about this at the Planning Commission too, when you know there's a traffic situation there and it's not safe, why would you wait for those things to happen? Why wouldn't you try to prevent them? So if we study and there's science to it and we know it, let's avoid it. But we're dealing with MDOT, and I'm not trying to take a shot at MDOT. They say our job is to move traffic first and as safely as they can, and that's what they focus on. So they don't want to put a light in unless it meets the warrants because it doesn't move traffic. And that's what they've said. And I mean, again, I haven't talked to them in some time about this specific intersection. And I mean, I certainly can, but, I'm happy to, but that's the last word that I've gotten from them, and it's been a number of years.
Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I'll keep my comments brief. I did read through everything in preparation for tonight. I want to thank the residents that have participated thus far in voicing your opinion. I too have a concern about traffic and safety, and I would hope that perhaps my board would be willing to join me in pausing and allow Mr. O'Neill to go talk to MDOT and see if we can, where we stand with the light, and if we can accomplish that first, then we have some knowledge to move forward, whether that's an option or not. So that would be my take on the best plan moving forward here.
Thank you. Mr. Ruggles, anything else to add? No. Mr. Noble?
My comments, the traffic light, it's a very, we had a former personnel here, that clerk that was coming out of that stuff that was injured in a severe accident. We've had multiple accidents there. Safety's paramount. And if you're willing to put skin in the game, as a few of the trustees stated, I think that would alleviate a lot of your problems. But as far as I go right now, I'm a no on the project unless that takes place.
Mr. Powell?
Would you like, okay, I'll do it.
Go right ahead.
I think you eloquently stated that this is supported by the master plan as a commercial site. And I'm going to recommend to this board that we maybe approach it just a little bit differently, in that it's been stated by Mr. O'Neill that the site plan submitted and by the applicant is a conceptual plan. Unfortunately, the way that works in virtually every community is that if a site is rezoned, any plan that's submitted as part of that rezoning means nothing, because the next day they can come in and present a totally different plan. And as long as it meets the zoning ordinance, then this board is bound to approve that plan, which is a major issue for this particular site. This is a very sensitive site, as we know by the Black Rock site. We had a subdivision behind that site. We have a very active subdivision association here, and they've been used to a very benign use over the years. I'm going to suggest that the legislature of this state made a change a number of years ago. Contract zoning has long since been held as illegal, unconstitutional in this state, which means people used to try to say, if we agree to this, will the township then sign an agreement and contract with us to build what we want to build? That was deemed unconstitutional. However, to make that happen, make that ability a reality, the legislature modified the zoning enabling legislation to allow for what's called conditional rezoning. And that conditional rezoning is a relationship between the applicant and the township where a site plan is tied directly to the rezoning being requested. So in this particular case, we have site lighting, we have parking lot lighting, we have building lighting, we have the car lights that are going to shine in the back of the homes as they're driving through here. We have sound issues, especially with the drive-through and the car sounds and honking. We have buffers, setbacks from property lines. We have landscaping. We have traffic issues. We have the light issue there at Sandy Beach. Even the architecture of the building can be controlled this way. The utilities on the site, which means the sanitary storm, the storm water, the signage on the site, all of these things can be controlled because a development agreement is also signed with the conditional rezoning. This township hasn't done this type of rezoning yet. I've been personally involved in it in other communities, and so it's worked very, very well on behalf of the community. The applicant doesn't necessarily like it because it's a joint effort between the township and the applicant, and unless the applicant does what he represents, the rezoning is pulled away. So if it's not, if they don't comply with the site plan and they build exactly what is being proposed and what's agreed to, the rezoning is null and void, and that rezoning is pulled back. So in my estimation, and I believe this is the only way to control not only the use, but the amenities on the site that will protect the neighbors in this area. And I feel very strongly that we can delay this by postponing it in hopes of a light. In my working with the MDOT, they also have an issue of lights right next to each other. And so you can't have them flow through from both directions and not stop traffic more than what it is now. And everybody complains about the traffic already on 59, and to stop it one more time, I think that the planner is absolutely correct. I don't believe that MDOT will, no matter what money we throw at it, I don't think MDOT is going to allow that light. That being said, we can control how this site's being used by conditional rezoning. And I'm going to suggest that we table this, and we can do a couple things. We can let the planner approach MDOT regarding the light issue, as well as the applicant then evaluating not only the concerns of the residents, but our concerns, and knowing what I've listed out here. And I design these sites as a profession, and so I would have some comments on it as well. But I think we ought to postpone it, and I believe this is the only way that we can control what goes on this site and make it the best that we can, as you stated.
Thank you. Counselor?
I just have two comments, and I think Sean might want to weigh in on this as well. I don't believe currently White Lake Township has a zoning ordinance provision that addresses conditional rezoning. So an amendment to the zoning ordinance would be required, factors would have to be established. But the second point that I want to make, and the law is crystal clear on this, a conditional rezoning has to be offered by the applicant. It cannot be something that the township board asks
Correct.
for. I just want to be clear on those 2 points.
Yes.
I would agree with you on both points.
Right.
Would you have any problems sitting down with our planner?
We,
And potentially one or two representatives from the community so that they could have a direct input and knowledge of what and how it would be put together?
we did request that from the beginning, and we were told that White Lake has never done and does not do conditional rezonings. So that's
Well, there's always a new horizon for new things.
Well, and just to circle back to what the attorney just said, it's because their ordinance doesn't provide for it, which doesn't mean that if they, I mean, they're the ones who make the ordinances say what they say. It's up to them. So if that's something that they'd like to see.
Maybe we'll just have to amend that.
Yeah.
If it's something that they would like to see.
So we're going to be held to months until you guys adopt a conditional rezoning policy?
Yeah, right. We'll be coming up next.
Order. Thank you. So it is a possibility, and it may actually, in the long run, make it easier for you to attain what it is that you want to do. That is what I'm strongly recommending. So I'm going to recommend, and I agree with Mr. Powell wholeheartedly, I think we will postpone this for further investigation on the MDOT requirements, possibility of a light, and see how that's received, and potentially find out from your organization, and you give us some assurances that you would make, your organization would be willing to make a contribution, and we could do a little bit of homework on that and find out exactly where we stand.
I would support that motion.
Rick, I haven't spoken yet, so.
Oh.
Yeah, no problem. Mr. Roman.
I don't think the money thing is something that we should pressure a developer to. I don't think the money's the issue. Heck, if Twin Lakes had an option to do an SAD right now to get that traffic light in, I'll bet you it would pass with flying colors. So, and I would think that's something we could do. Would it not be? You've got 400 homes or so, Twin Lakes.
So, yeah, MDOT generally says if a light's warranted, they put it in. They don't wait for a contribution. And I mean, again, I haven't met with them in some time. I'm happy to try to set up a meeting with them and bring our traffic engineer with us, Lee Merrill from DLZ. He can probably help shed some light on it too. It's been a number of years since we've met with them on this intersection, so if that's what you'd like me to do, I'm happy to do that. And as far as the ordinance language with conditional rezoning, are you wanting to deal with a light and ordinance amendment, language to the ordinance to amend that? Is that the direction that?
Well, ultimately, I think we need to do everything we can to benefit the community around it and minimize the impact.
I don't disagree. I just want to make sure.
We have a partner that's willing to work with the township and the community. I think they should be given a fair shake, because there are other communities of which we all know, and I sit on with a group of what is called OCATS, which is the Oakland County Township Supervisors Association, of which there are multiple supervisors from all of the communities in Oakland County. And there are a myriad of stories of where things just didn't go quite the way that they wanted, and essentially there was legal action taken, and it put those particular communities in a position where they were basically hands-off, and the decisions were made by an Oakland County judge as to ultimately what was done. And you don't want that, and we don't want that. But that's what's possibly could happen, not necessarily with them, but with whomever, okay? Because the township has been through that action before. And I would highly recommend that we try to work this out as best as we can.
Agree. And I think your motion encompassed that. We need to gather some more information. We need to pause for a minute. We need to postpone and then go from there.
My question is, can we, if we postpone, I'd really like to hear the residents speak, and I don't want to short circuit their ability to do it.
Well, if you've read your packet, you'll see all of the comments.
Yeah, I agree.
I did, but they're here. They showed up today, and so.
Say one more thing, I wasn't done yet.
What's that?
Oh, if I can just finish.
Yes.
So
I'm sorry, I got it from both sides here.
I think Mike was still going.
What's that?
Mike was still going.
trying, I was just disappointed.
Okay, all right. Michael?
Yeah, I got cut off.
Sorry. I don't know how that happened.
So my other concern is if it's not rezoned to commercial as our master plan states, and it goes to court, I'm almost certain that a judge is going to convert this property to commercial as our master plan states. And my other fear is if a judge does that, I don't know what else a judge can do. So I guess my point is, I'd rather we do it maybe as Mr. Powell has discussed, so that we keep control out of the courts.
Yes.
Correct. Agreed.
Right.
Yes, Counselor.
You are all making me very uncomfortable.
We always do, but that's our job.
A couple of points that I just want to call out. The motion that's on the table is indefinitely. It's not for a date certain.
Not for a date certain.
I didn't know we had a motion. Did we have a
Yes,
motion on the
there
table?
a motion and support.
Apologize.
Postpone.
I did not know.
Yeah,
the applicant might want a decision if he wants to go another route and not wait for 6 months to evaluate whether a zoning ordinance should be amended and establish a conditional rezoning, and then ask to be considered and then go through the process. So in my opinion, out of fairness, you should have a date certain so that the applicant can evaluate where it wants to go while the township decides how it would like to proceed.
So we won't be able to speak for a date for Mr. O'Neill to be able to schedule to meet with MDOT tonight. We would at least need to know, wait for that to explore a light possibility.
But I also have the concern that a conditional rezoning has to be offered by the applicant, and you don't know the applicant is going to offer that.
Well, he said he did already.
Yeah.
But that was
Offered to
how
me.
many months ago?
No, we're talking right now.
Yeah, I understand that. I guess my question to the board is, this process has never been done here. And how long is it going to take to ratify guidelines and all these things? Because again, as you know, developers they've purchased their property and they want to move forward with it. And if you come back and tell me that it's going to take a year to ratify guidelines, a lawsuit may be more beneficial to us because of the speed in which that would operate.
What about safety of our children?
And that's not a threat, it's just we need to evaluate our timelines as well.
Right, I understand that.
Mr. Supervisor,
like a vote tonight.
I'm going to just challenge our attorney just a little bit here. And she knows I
I
always
like
do.
doing that, Mike.
Yes.
Okay.
The worst case scenario, if we postpone this, is a judge would remand it back to us. If they were to file a lawsuit and we don't make any decision at all, the judge would remand it back to us because he would need he would need our approval of something to make some motion in order for the lawsuit to be right. And so he can't say, I'm going to demand that it be, now I'm not an attorney, demand that it be commercial when this board hasn't even spoken yet. So at the very least, the only thing they can do is file a lawsuit to force us to make a decision. And by that time, we've got a month or two that we can certainly ask about MDOT and see how long it would take us to approve a conditional rezoning ordinance. So I don't want to make a snap decision tonight, nor do I want to put a burden on Sean O'Neill to make it in 30 days to have him come back in 30 days.
That's not realistic.
That's correct.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Or give an update so the applicant can make a decision at that time.
I have no problem giving an update each month, so.
I'm going to say that we should probably have about 90 days on
Yep,
this.
that's exactly.
At least up to, that's the reason you postpone, so you can have until the information's determined.
It will give us a chance to gather some information, contact MDOT. They're going to take at least 30 days to call us back.
And there are local ordinances that we can virtually copy. They'd be glad to give us their ordinance.
There are other communities
Yeah.
that we have collaborated with, and I'm sure there's other supervisors that have
Right.
these particular items on the wall, so to speak. So I'd be happy to look at it and see what we can do to move forward with. But I'm going to suggest we just postpone for 90 days for a discovery period.
So do you want to pick like the meeting date in August rather
Yes.
than 90 days? So
Yes.
that way it's like,
Yes.
if that's what,
Yes.
I don't know what,
August
15th?
15th, 13th?
it's the 21st.
I think our
20th?
meeting's the 20th in August.
Is that the 20th?
August 20th?
Get the handy
Down.
calendar out.
Is that too long of a period for you?
I'll need to confer with the applicant.
So I mean, I can start making phone calls to MDOT tomorrow. Obviously, Mr. Cooksey and his group are going to have to confer, and then while we're waiting to try to get something scheduled with MDOT, you can get back to me on the other piece of this and, can move forward in that way.
I think we just really need to know how long it's going to take to ratify this new process. I mean, we've talked to MDOT, we know their opinion. I know that, Sean, when you talk to them, you're going to get the exact same opinion.
Right.
I understand the board wants us to go through those steps, but I think for us, it's a timeline thing of when is this new process going to be available for us? Because, I mean, we started this conversation with Sean and Justin last October, and, you know, it's been quite a while.
The first time you come before this board.
I understand, and we could have come back in March, like Sean said, but we withdrew that application because we wanted to work with the community, with the neighbors, and, you know, changed our application. So it is just, we coming in October asking for a conditional rezone, only to be here in May to say, well, we got to figure out how to do a conditional rezone is a touch frustrating.
Mr. O'Neill?
Reed, just to let you know, I think this is twofold with MDOT. One, to find out, you know, what the prospects are so we can report back to the board, but also share that with the concerned residents too, because I think,
I agree.
you know, we need to give that picture. Your project aside even, because this is something that they've been asking for, like we've talked for a while. So, and then as far as a conditional rezoning piece, again, going back to that, it just doesn't exist, and there hadn't been any direction to move ahead with it or any real push. So that's what we've heard tonight is, you know, we need to explore that, and that's why and there's a lot of things our ordinance doesn't allow, but until this board who legislates makes that decision, we don't move ahead.
Understood.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? I made a motion somewhere along the line. Beg your pardon?
Please.
Please. It's only been like 5,000 words since then.
It was moved by Supervisor Colwell, seconded by Trustee Smith to postpone the rezoning request from 9101 Highland Road, identified as parcel 12-23-227-003 for 90 days to further investigate the MDOT requirements on the possibility of traffic light installation. Why did I put at Sunny Beach Boulevard, right?
Yes.
Sunny Beach Boulevard, and contribution by the developer to the light.
And that would be the 20th of
like to
August.
leave
That's not
that-
part of the motion.
You need to leave that
That part you
contribution
gotta
out.
leave out.
That cannot be a requirement.
Right.
And I think the other piece of it was to explore possible amendments to the zoning ordinance as it relates to
Correct.
conditional rezoning.
Okay.
Explore.
Yes.
Okay, so we have motion, we have support, roll call vote. Oh,
Can we open up to the public before we vote?
I suppose we can. I mean,
What would be proper point of order?
I think we should vote.
You
I'd like-
didn't, you didn't have them speak during public comment, so it would be
Correct.
appropriate to give them that
Yeah,
opportunity.
before we vote.
Yep.
Yes.
that's fine. I don't have a
fine.
problem with that. Orderly fashion,
Like our vote.
identify yourself for the recorder, and you will have 3 minutes to state your case. After 3 minutes, you're going to get hooked off the floor. So, all right?
Who's doing the three? You doing the three, Rick?
You doing the 3 or do you want me to?
3 minutes to it.
I wanted to make sure.
Good evening, Board and townspeople. So I'm Tom Shea. I live in Twin Lakes Association subdivision.
Address for the
Oh,
recorder.
9669 Steep Hollow Drive. And we've been there about 5 years now. So I wanted to applaud the board for your thoughts and what your plans are to postpone the decision. So I don't know how many accidents happen there at our neighborhood intersection every year. Do you know the count?
Chief's department would have that information, but he probably doesn't have it at hand.
How many accidents, how many fatalities, how many
We haven't had
severe
rules.
injuries or, okay. I don't know, but I know one thing, I've witnessed it right in front of my face, where glass is flying, cars hit, boom, and I just watched this go, whew, that was a close call. I've got 2 high school boys that are driving now and a 12-year-old girl coming up the ranks, and I'm a pretty strong driver, I'm optimistic and I see gaps and holes, but I take my time to show my kids, but it's tough driving out there. So we all know it needs a light there. Now, that use for a fast food restaurant, I don't know what retail or what commercial use would be worse than a fast food restaurant. That drives a lot of traffic. Not just one restaurant, 2 on top of that. So you think it's bad now, it's gonna be it's a nightmare as it is at times. So it's gonna be a dangerous nightmare. And there will be fatalities. And so you can't worry about the money, the cost of light. You have to worry about MDOT. I think if we presented the case to MDOT with the fire department, the police department, of what's happened there, how many accidents have been there. I can't tell you how many times I've driven up to it and I see remnants of an accident, glass and particles there. So it's pretty extensive. I think organically, by more population and everybody moving out there, it's going to even increase, 3-4% a year, whatever that number is. And you put some fast food restaurants in there and you just went up double digits. And that's going to be morning, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, not just like church on a Sunday or anything. So it's going to really make a significant impact. And I just want to make that clear, how dangerous that will be if that does get voted in. Liability on someone's shoulders, that somebody could be killed or effectively, injured for life. And there could be multiple people there. So
233.
that's pretty much it. So I'm with you guys on all that. And there's got to be a lot of other categories of use that would make sense, that would give the city revenue and use it for commercial use, that would by far decrease the amount of traffic. But I still think no matter what, we should be getting a light in there. And I think proposing a light, whether that's used for a restaurant or other types of commercial use, I think we should state the case to the MDOT of the accidents and all other things that have happened so we can get a light there.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
3 minutes is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shea.
Next.
Thank you. I'll be quick and make up for that. So, as he mentioned, we have the three.
Can you state your name?
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
address?
It's Diana Shea, and I'm same address as him, 9669 Steep Hollow Drive. I'm on the board as well as a resident there. So I have 3 children, like he said, 2 of which are driving now. And when we moved into the neighborhood, it was actually 6 years ago. One of the first things I thought to myself was, oh gosh, I'm dreading my children learning how to drive. I mean, that was it wasn't the schools, it wasn't the neighbors, I'm terrified when they start driving because, again, like him, I'm a seasoned driver. And you cannot turn left without getting into that left-hand turn lane. Even when we were driving here, I was like, right, left, right, left. Oh, somebody's coming out of the church. Oh, here, now somebody's coming. Oh, I could turn left, but here comes somebody else. It's a nightmare. And so you're mentioning about different alternatives for that location. And I know that, you keep talking about it as a conceptual plan. I'm sorry, but I know how much those plans cost. This is not conceptual. This is what they plan on doing. And it's going to be a nightmare if you put 2 fast food restaurants in there. I'm all about them making money. I'm all for that. But there's other things you could put in there, whether it's a spa, an office building, an urgent care, something else that's not constant traffic in and out, in and out, in and out. And I don't think lighting in the walls are the biggest issue with these residents. I drove, after the last meeting, I drove through the sub and I see how close these people's backyards are to this property, and there's got to be something else done. I'm way in the far back. I'm not affected by it in my backyard, but I'm affected by it on the roads. And there's got to be something done with MDOT. I don't know whose kid they're waiting to get killed before they decide, but it better not be mine or heads will roll. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Chris Scholes. I live at 987 Sunny Beach Boulevard. I am the very first house as you pull in the subdivision. It would be on the side that they're proposing. So the impact to me, I don't know if you guys realize it, it's going to be huge. That setback is going to put that property right in my view. The noise, the lights, the runoff water. It's not all going to be caught in storms. It's going to come over. I mean, the way the traffic is now, it took me 10 minutes to pull out of my subdivision to get here. It's horrible. By increasing this, I see money, that's fine. Put the community first, please. On this, the community is everything. And this is going to be a huge impact. Nobody wants it. And I understand you guys want it, but you gotta balance it, please. Think about it hard. Mr. Powell, thank you. I appreciate that. So, guys, enjoy your night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Beverly Clancy, 8790 Twin Lakes Drive.
Microphone down just a little bit. There you go.
First, I want to thank Mr. Powell, Mr. Cowell, I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right, Liz Smith, Scott Ruggles, everybody for your words. You've given me a little bit of hope since the last two meetings I've attended. You said no money will convince MDOT. We know lives may be lost before MDOT reconsiders, which is a very sad fact. I live in the back, like the Shays of the neighborhood, and not quite far as back, but pretty far back. From a property standpoint, I'm not impacted, but I'm compelled to speak up for those who are impacted the most and who can't be here tonight. I too have a 19-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old daughter who just passed her driving test, and I really am horrified of her making the turnout to get to 59. So I just wanted to thank you again for letting us speak before you do your vote. Sometimes the right thing is not the easy thing to do. It's met with aversion, losing out on profits, and the list goes on. This community knows what's right and what is safe. I believe you do as well. Vote like this land is behind your home and will have retail noise, litter, and less green space. Vote like your teenage children or grandchildren are going to be pulling out of the neighborhood with approximately 700 more cars driving daily down 59. How does this make you feel? Vote like your teenagers are home without you and the foot traffic associated with the retail space behind you can approach your property while your teenage girls are home while maybe you and your spouse are out for a bite to eat. Vote like you would if the unknown retailers are your prospective neighbors. Maybe we'll get a smoke shop. Low-end retail, the negative possibilities are endless. Consider this when you vote. Vote with the responsibility your elected or appointed roles dictate from the taxpaying contributing residents of this community. Our office, your office is supposed to look out for the community's best interests while you move forward. Vote for safety, stable property values, less pollution. Vote like it's your family that becomes a statistic so MDOT will grant that traffic light. I asked Reed last week, what is high-end? It eluded me to think that it's high-end retail. I learned later that it's high-end building material. So what does that mean? I don't know. I'm a nurse. If you need an IV, I'm your girl. Who decides what goes into this space? Who protects our community? I know this isn't the meeting for this. I'm just getting the hang of coming to these meetings, but I won't back down, and I'll try to learn more as I navigate through this with you. But again, you have restored some of my hope tonight as a homeowner in White Lake Township, and I thank you for that. So I beg of you, don't vote for the money grab. Vote like this is the residents, the prospective retail behind your residents, and get Mr. and Mrs. Shea on the board to brainstorm for more ideas.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else at this time? Again, comments have been looked at and reviewed and are of record from the Planning Commission and other, meetings that have gone on. Yes.
Teresa Johns, 9105.
State your name for the record and your address, please. We don't know who you are.
You don't, do you?
No, I have no clue.
Sorry.
I didn't hear it though, you talked over it.
Okay, that's good.
I get an extra minute. Teresa Johns, 9105 Steep Hollow Drive. Mr. Powell, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you. I am glad that you spoke up. I am not sure where this master plan has come from, but I guess now I understand. I would like to know who determines what goes where and why we, as the residents who live over there, had not one single opportunity to speak about what we wanted to see there when the Planning Commission, amongst people we don't even know, they make the decisions. What, is there a problem, Sean?
No,
Oh.
we've had like 20
2
meetings
years of
and public
updates to
hearings
the
and
master
stuff on the
plan.
master plan.
Oh, the master, I
Anybody that
understand
comes
that, but that's not my question.
That's
My
what you're talking about.
my question
You were
is, it's
saying.
residential or commercial? It came down to the Planning Commission coming down and saying it was going to be commercial. We begged at that meeting and previous meetings, saying we did not want, I don't know what Reed heard, but in every single meeting we had, we said absolutely, unequivocally, no. We did not want drive-throughs there. We were concerned about the traffic. We're concerned about people coming beyond their structure to go into the neighborhood. I feel for the guy who lives on the corner. I know the township wants revenue, but at what expense are you going to have it?
Saying that.
It has had nothing to do with that for
We
us
we
at all.
didn't present this project to the
No,
township.
I understand.
They brought it to us.
I understand
We
that.
aren't, it is not about revenue for the township.
Well, it is going to be revenue for the township.
Excuse me,
We didn't ask for it.
Mr. Ruggles. This is comment. We'll hear the comment.
Okay.
You have a lot of misinformation, but go ahead.
Where is my misinformation?
I'm not, this is comment. You
Okay.
want to have a
Well,
dialogue.
no, he said something, so I'm,
Excuse me.
okay.
We can have a dialogue at another time. I'm
Okay, we
allowing you
will.
your comment.
Okay.
Please have your comment.
Anyway, I'm sorry. If I misspoke, then I'm sorry. But Mr. Powell, I agree 1,000%. This should be tabled. People should reconsider this, and Reed should look at the fact of what the people actually said. Nobody who spoke at those 2 meetings that I was at, or at least 4 meetings I was at, not one person spoke up and said, oh yeah, this is a great idea. Not one. So I'm begging this board to look at the fact where we live. You don't live there, we do. And to reconsider when you vote, voting no.
Thank you. Anyone else at this time? Hurry up.
Hurry up.
Pick up the pace.
Don't pay any attention to him, Mary.
Sergeant of Arms.
I know.
Talking to the Sergeant of
I'm
Arms
just
like
far
that.
enough away she can't hit me with anything.
You should see me throw a baseball. Mary Early, 5925 Pine Ridge Court. Based on the master plan, keep in mind, I wrote this before all this discussion. Based on the master plan, R1C is not an appropriate zoning for 9101 Highland Road. The applicant has already gone from general business to restricted business, but lowering to local business would not give the Twin Lakes subdivision the answer to their problem. The problem is the traffic on Highland Road, regardless of what kind of business is approved. My suggestion is that all of the co-owners could go together to purchase this property and perhaps add it to their sub as a commons area. The real problem is still all of the traffic on Highland Road and the policies of MDOT regarding installation of a stoplight at the intersection with Sunny Beach Boulevard. When we were delivering Meals on Wheels, there were 2 places I hated to turn in and out of. This was one of them, and the other was at Cranberry Village and Banks Boulevard. It was a nightmare. We lost a friend and neighbor in a fatal crash at the intersection of Hospital Road and Highland Road. Shortly after that, MDOT finally put in a traffic light. This is not a problem that White Lake can remedy. The Twin Lakes homeowners would be better served by working with MDOT to prevent any fatalities at their entrance/exit by pursuing a traffic light. White Lake Township has an excellent staff and planning commission who've studied this proposal, and I ask that the board follow their recommendations. I think the idea that Mr. Powell has presented about conditional rezoning is a good idea to look into. Thank you.
Anyone else at this time? Okay, I'm now,
I want to say one more thing. Tom Shea again, 9669 Steve Hollow Drive. We make our boys turn right out of that neighborhood to turn around and to go that direction.
good practice.
I think we eased up on that. They'd probably go left without us knowing about it. But I think another thing is property value. Property value will go down, especially the houses behind. And maybe in the whole neighborhood, because people would go, wow, it's really busy here. I don't know if I want to move here. My kids grow up here and have to pull out of this neighborhood. So, it could affect, and it will affect the property value as well. I think we all want to have higher property values. They should be going up. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm now closing public comment. We have a motion. We have seconded. Mr. Roman?
Yeah, I just wanted to say something to all the parents out here. You have kids driving. Get those damn cell phones out of their hands when they're driving, okay? It's not if, it's when. They will get into accidents and God forbid they get killed. I'm going to say it again. Get those cell phones away from them when they're driving. Put them in the damn glove boxes. I almost lost my son the other day. I know he got distracted. I don't have any other details, but I'm telling you guys, it's not if, it's when. Get rid of those cell phones.
Okay.
Mr. I really believe that I have to say something. This country is based upon property rights. It's given to us by our Constitution. So as much as we'd like to be able to tell somebody how to use their property, it's their property, and as long as they do it legally, this board can't say, you know what, we would really prefer there to be a cemetery there, or a funeral home, or urgent care. We can't do that. They're allowed to build something per ordinance. I am aware of a very large subdivision who golf course was going to be sold, and they were going to make a commercial venture out of it. The entire homeowners association decided to buy the golf course and maintain that golf course, and so that would address the property values issue and certainly a sales issue for selling that. You might even, and our attorney here is going to cringe when I say this, the township could very well assist in a special assessment district if it were a public-private partnership that we can assist in buying that and sell bonds and allow you to pay that back over 10 years or more as a way to.
Careful there.
I'm just
Real
an idea.
careful there.
The attorney is cringing, but it's certainly.
So's the supervisor.
But the
But it's-
property is sold, it's not for sale.
No, you'd have to make them an offer that they would
Yeah,
accept.
I just want to be
Yeah,
clear
that's
that we're
correct.
not misleading anybody. The property is not currently for sale.
But.
I don't know. Mike,
All properties for sale. If they offered enough, it'd be for sale, okay?
get to the point.
That being said, I have to tell you that Supervisor Kowal and Treasurer Roman were right on, that if we were to vote no on this tonight, the applicant would file a lawsuit and a judge would demand it be approved as commercial zoning, and it would take all our control away. So it would be inadvisable for us to vote no, as much as you came hoping that we'd say no, but that would be inappropriate and we'd have the wrong result. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We have motion on the floor. We have support. Roll call vote.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Ruggles,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Supervisor Kowal,
Yes.
Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Trustee Powell,
Yes,
Trustee Voorhees.
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay. All right.
thank you, everyone.
Next item. Thanks, everybody.
Coming. We
Appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Okay. Next item is request to approve preliminary site plan for Culvers. I just say, when are they going to be ready for carryout? Yeah. Mr. Ruggles?
Another drive-through?
Yeah. Do you have anything to add to this? You were there?
I don't have anything to mention, no.
Okay. In that case, I would like, Mr. O'Neill, I'm good with it.
I thought maybe the public would like to know that on May 2nd, the Planning Commission held a public hearing, which is required due to the zoning district that this property falls within, and recommended approval after that public hearing that the board approve the preliminary site plan. There's some comments and things like that that need to be addressed between preliminary and final. There was a lot of discussion on some sidewalks, but largely it was pretty straightforward, as would all the other Meyer outlots, because all the utilities are there, all the roadways are in. Super easy. They're not all this easy. So I think the applicants are here and may want to address the board, but if you don't need to hear from them and you're ready to move ahead, I'm sure they'll probably be happy to.
When can we
have your
expect
support.
fish?
Mr.
Give me a guess. Any kind of fish, white fish, when can we get fish there? How soon before you're open?
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion. Like to make a motion to request, to approve the preliminary site plan for Culvers.
I'll support that motion.
Under discussion, this is where a site like, this is where a restaurant should be sited. This is a great spot.
Well, it's just ideal conditions.
Correct.
Can I show the public too, because you guys are really moving along, which I appreciate. Bogey Lake Road, right here, Meyer, it is this sort of peninsula outlot right here where the Culver's store. And if I flip back over to the packet, you'll see kind of how it's shaped here.
Yeah.
So it will be going right in here.
Sean, shouldn't the motion include some subject twos?
It can, but they still have to go through final, so all that stuff will be picked up. And I think they've agreed to all the conditions anyway. They've offered a community benefit, which will come through at final, and you'll obviously be seeing a development agreement because this is a PB zoning, so this won't be the last time you see them. Site plan will be resolved at the planning commission.
What was that, free ice cream?
No, they're actually, you asked for fish.
I'm mining for something here, you know,
Yeah.
public benefit, free ice cream.
Where are you with the motion, clerk?
Waiting for a vote.
He made it, I supported it.
Nice one, though.
I just wanted to say to Culver's, thank you for coming to White Lake.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Nice job. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, motion, support, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, moving right along.
Thank you.
Thank you. Conceptual plan presentation discussion regarding 8285 Highland Road, formerly known as the old general trailer site.
Okay.
Old
So
boneyard.
tonight, you are going to hear from Bob Emmerine, who's the engineer on the project, and Josh Toriainen. How did I say it right? Toriainen?
Close,
It's a lot of like vowels together, and I appreciate all that, and so
Close
I'll
enough.
let him say his name. But these gentlemen were at the Planning Commission back on the 2nd of May and had a presentation similar to the one they're going to give tonight to share with you their proposed, thank you. Do you want to turn these around? Sure. Is that what you, okay. So I've got some things to scroll through.
How come we didn't have it?
You saw in the packet a letter that Justin had put together, kind of pointing out some of the improvements that might need to be made, but there hasn't really been a full evaluation. The applicants, who we've had quite a bit of dialogue with, are aware that quite a bit of site work needs to be done, and they're planning on moving forward with some significant architectural improvements. The feedback they got from the Planning Commission on May 8th was mixed. There were a couple of members who thought it was great, a couple of members who didn't like it at all, and then most of the group was somewhere in between, thinking, what is there now, which is very unsightly. The current property owner is not keeping the property up. It looks horrible. It's at our gateway, and so some of the planning commissioners thought really anything that would clean up that property and improve it would be better than what we have. The concern was that this is not what was envisioned for this parcel in the master plan, and while that's true, they have currently have general business zoning, which allows them to move forward with a special land use request for a car dealership. So kind of have to have one or the other. You either have to have the appropriate zoning to move ahead, or it has to be appropriate with a master plan. And so given the fact that we'd just gone through the master plan process, those who had some heartburn over the request had that heartburn due to that. But again, I think most of the members were optimistic that some improvement here would clean this property up, because it's been vacant other than tree removal companies that we've had to chase out periodically, who store stuff on the property. There's junk everywhere, as you can see from the aerial, and that's not what we want at our gateway. It needs to be cleaned up. And it's unfortunate that since General RV moved out, it's sort of been let go to some extent. So these gentlemen are going to talk to you tonight about their plan. And tonight, there's really no action being sought. They're going to give a brief presentation. They're going to ask you for some feedback, and then they're going to make a determination as to, what their next step is. So if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'll be quiet. And then Josh or Bob, as you move through, I'd be happy to mouse around through your packet to show whatever image you'd like to be up on the screen.
Thanks, Sean. My name is Joshua Tariainen, 58415 10 Mile Road, South Lyon, Michigan. Good evening to you guys. Appreciate you guys seeing us. If it goes as easy as the last one, I have no problem giving you free ice cream. So so what we do, we have a group of independent car dealerships, not the typical used car. We like to think of ourselves as an A-, not a B lot. We carry high-end inventory. We're very, very big on the image of the dealership, the image of the cars, image overall. It's a tough business, so you have to have a nice image for people to even want to buy a car from you. We're very picky about the communities we do business in. We're in Brighton, Chelsea, and our recent, our newest dealership is Wixom. So we like to be in good communities. We like to contribute to the communities. We like to bring good business to the communities. We're very low impact on the communities. We are gateway in other communities, so we understand the importance and responsibility of being the gateway. And we are always more than willing to do whatever we can to make sure that the community wants us. So as Sean said, this is a temperature for us. This is a very big purchase. And before we're scheduled to close next week, we want to make sure that the community wants us there. We don't want to own the property, then not be able to do anything with it. So that's what the point of this is for us, at least, and obviously to answer any questions we can for you guys. Sir?
Yeah, so, do you just sell cars? Do you have any other services like oil changes? Do you have a bump shop? Do you have a paint shop? Or is it just the sale of cars?
So we sell cars. We have auxiliary businesses. We just opened a new 30,000 square foot facility in Wixom. It's about a 20-minute drive where we're going to do most of all of our really bump work, if there is mechanical, all of the rehabilitation of the car, the name, but everything done to the car is going to be off-site and then brought here for retail.
Okay, so for White Lake, you would just be retail?
Very minimal would be done here, quick spot delivery, cleaning off the dirt off the tires and applying sprays to the windshield, things that you would do in your driveway, nothing out of the ordinary.
Dealer prep?
Dealer prep, yes, sir.
Okay, and then the vehicles that you would be selling, can you give us like your average price range? Is it $5,000 to $10,000 cars, or is it more of a 20 to 40?
It's universal. The best used car lot price for any dealer, doesn't matter if you're Feldman or you're LaFontaine or me. Every dealer wants to stay, between 16.5 and 18.5. That's just the sweet spot. It's hard to get that kind of good inventory, so we tend to be a little bit more expensive, just because everyone's fighting for that stuff. But we like to stay between maybe 15 to 25. That's optimal for us. But of course, that's probably 70%, 60% of the lot. And then I also carry high-end resto mod classic cars, and we have the exotics, and we don't carry junk, but we'll carry over and beyond that just because it keeps it interesting. This at the end of the day is a really fun business, so we do what makes us happy too in terms of having fun with the cars. And
Well, I think it's a great fit for that location, so you got my support.
Thank you, we do too. Sir?
Now, this is the current,
So-
tonight is current, correct? Not the ones there on the board?
Those are conceptuals that have, that's not what's on there now. We were gonna add windows and facades, and, the planning commission was pretty particular about what they were looking for there, and so we have some hoops I'm sure we'll have to jump that we're willing to accommodate, but those were just what our architect came up with, what would be, pretty simple to do there.
I think if I could interrupt really quickly, the feedback that most people gave was of the three kind of conceptuals, this one was the one, something like this, was the one that most planning commissioners seemed to think would be the best fit for that corner. Not that exact image, something similar to that.
Mr. Supervisor?
Yes, Mr. Ruggles.
So it's all used cars, right?
It is all used cars, yes, sir.
Okay, I mean, considering what's there currently and the look of this, I'm in favor of it. I don't have an issue with it. I think it'll fit right in. It'll really improve the space and improve the community, and I don't have a problem with it.
Thank you.
Mr. Noble?
I'm in favor. I went to your Wixom store. Remember the building before? It's beautiful inside and
Thank you.
well ran. And we have an idea and realization of the economy, and we have these visions of what we'd like there. But right now, that property's sitting, and I see your track record, and I'm in totally support of this project. And I'm looking forward to you coming to White Lake and working with our planning department and Director O'Neill.
Thank you for the kind words. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think it would be a good way to add to the gateway of White Lake.
Right. Mr. Powell?
Do you need actually all of this parking that we see shaded here? Just thinking out loud, it'd be nice to have a little bigger buffer along Ripples, and I know you have to deal with the encroachment of Ripples onto this site, but it'd be nice to have a green space between the building and the parking along that side. Otherwise, the overall plan is quite nice.
If you don't mind, Mr. Powell, this gentleman here did our site plans for us. He'd probably be able to speak better on that. I don't have that answer for you. Excuse me.
I can't speak to the number of spaces that they would require. I know this diagram you see here has about 216 parking spaces. You know, a very preliminary site plan was submitted back in March, and we received a bunch of comments from planning, and we did our best to try to address those. One of those was to make sure we did put a buffer. And right now, we're just showing a 20-foot buffer along the frontage there, something that will be, you know, landscaped, bermed if needed. And, you know, we'll work with the planning department to make sure that, you know, looks very nice up front. They had also mentioned that they might like some of the, because right now, if you, Sean, if you go to the existing, you can see that site is pretty much all pavement. You can go to the existing plan.
Well, I can
Yeah,
just
there we
do
go.
this.
So that whole site is essentially all pavement. So we're going to do our best to make sure we add some landscaping islands, some buffer zones across the front and along the east side as well, to make sure we, you know, can do our best to first accommodate the required amount of parking that they need for storage, but also introduce as much green space as possible in there, just not only to pretty it up, but also to reduce the impervious surface on site so we can reduce stormwater requirements and things like that. So, you know, we'll work closely with Sean's team, with your engineering team, to make sure that, you know, we meet the zoning requirements, as well as making sure that we provide proper stormwater management for the site and adequate parking for what they need for their site.
Bob, do you need all that gravel remaining? I believe our ordinance requires all the pavement, all the parking area to be paved. And
Okay.
we'd like you not to come in and wholesale pave this.
Right.
But if you can shrink that down and only pave the portion that you need, that would be helpful.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you
talking
know,
about this
that's the
area,
existing
right?
lot, and at this point, you know, we hadn't really gotten to that depth.
Okay.
Certainly, the existing parking lot's in very, very poor shape, and so it'll certainly be an overlay over the existing site. There'd be a mill and fill that would be done there to repair that, and add landscaping islands, you know, throughout, so that we can get some green space in there as well.
If I could ask the planner, Sean, is this something that the planning department can review, or does it have to go through the entire planning commission approval process?
It needs a special land use permit. The general RV operated for many years without it, but they've been long vacated, so they'll need to come through with the site plan, and it'll need to go through. Planning Commission wants it to go through the full process because there's architectural, there's other considerations. One thing that I want to mention, it's something that was discussed at Planning Commission, and then ahead of this, was that they had a desire to buy the property, make some of the major repairs, deal with access, deal with some of the parking lot, and then do the other improvements, the aesthetic improvements, a little later. So that is not really, the only time that's ever been done in the last 21 years is with Carter's Plumbing. And they ended up doing a nice job, and they're actually very nearly done. I think as-built are the only thing that remain now that the fences are in. So you guys, in response, because there was a violation there, you took a performance guarantee from them. What would happen in this case is, and we've discussed this, they would evaluate the site. We would take kind of stock of what's being proposed, what needs to be done, and determine what health, safety, welfare items need to be done before they can operate. And a lot of this parking is part of that. And then for the rest of the improvements, we would get a construction cost estimate, and then they would put that performance guarantee up front, which they get back at certain intervals along the way as they complete some of the pieces. Normally, if developer XYZ comes in and builds on a greenfield, at the end, before they can open and sell anything, they get a punch list. And that punch list, let's say, is $50,000. They post the $50,000 as long as there's no life safety issues, accessibility issues. We let them post the money, operate under a temporary C of O, which, you know, temporary permanent C of O, that's really a whole other issue. But, and then they, over the next couple of months, finish all these things and they get their money back. We're kind of asking to do the opposite. They really want to do some of the critical stuff up front and then operate and then build some of these improvements. So that's going to be a challenge. It's probably going to take more time than if it were a greenfield. We don't necessarily object to it, but that's a whole separate process that the ordinance lays out a path for. We just haven't done a lot of it yet. So just as a heads up to you guys, that may be how this comes back. when they go, if they decide to move ahead and they move forward with a special land use request, there'll be a public hearing, the site plan will go to the PC, and then the request to do performance bond will also go, and you'll get all that information. And while you guys don't take action on the special land use, you would consider the preliminary site plan at the same time as you consider their performance guarantee request. So going to be a little different if they move ahead in the way that's been discussed. That's really kind of up to them as to whether or not they want to make that proposal. But that's I wanted to work that in, but that's a long way to answer your question is, yes, it's going to go through the full process. No, we're not just going to do it administratively.
So my question really leads to the fact that they haven't bought the property yet.
Correct.
They're looking to close on it. However, they could close on it, and this township could say, I'm sorry, we don't want a car dealership here. And they're taking that risk, and then what do? So what is the quickest, if they were able to renegotiate this closing, what is the fastest, assuming everything is done as maybe this board would allow, what is the fastest that we could get them an approval for that use so that they can purchase it? I think they'd be crazy to purchase it without a guarantee from this township that they can use it for what they're buying it for.
If you're just talking the special land use and, the site plan has to go with the special land use. That's preliminary, it's going to be a couple of months by the time there's going to be they've hired a very capable engineer, but nobody gets everything checked off on the first shot. So it's going to take 2 submittals, let's say, public hearing at the Planning Commission, which requires a 15-day notice, so that adds a little bit of lead time. I would say 2 months is probably a good rough guess if they want to move at breakneck speed and if we can get stuff turned around quickly. There are other considerations for utilities and things like that. Road agency permits that are going to be needed because you can see this apron's destroyed. Those are things that not only are out of our control, but they take way longer. Oakland County and the state of Michigan do not move anywhere near as quickly as we can move here in this township. So that's
So I see 2 issues. Number 1, they need to know that they can use it for what they're going to buy it for. And number 2, we need, as a township, to make sure that we have the guarantees that they're going to finish what they promise they're going to finish. So it's been a long time ago we've gotten rid of insurance bonds. We don't accept bonds because it only makes attorneys rich, because they've got to go to court in order to force it. And
Tell me how it works.
Not yet.
However, I think we can take letter of credits and things, or bank notes and things like that.
Well, we actually took a cash for Carter.
But at $1 million, they're not going to put $1 million in our pocket, okay? So if they have that much left to be done, that's their decision. But I think we can take a letter of credit, and as Sean said, we can give them some of that back in order to pay contractors as they make progress. So
Prorated as progress is made.
Right.
So part of the question, because we can never guarantee how this will go through the process, there's a lot of unknowns. We haven't really delved into this, so that's why they've come through this process. When you guys periodically see someone come through conceptually, it's so they can get some feedback from you instead of saying, I don't know, roll the dice. We say, well, come to the Planning Commission, get some feedback, come to the board, get some feedback, and then you'll kind of be able to, have a peek at how the process will likely work. But there's a lot of I's to be dotted and T's to be crossed, and they know that. I think they're looking kind of to take the temperature of this room as they did at the Planning Commission a couple of weeks ago.
Well, again, there's no necessary action tonight. I think you're just trying to look for feedback, but I think you have positive feedback here. I think it's something that would be an asset to the community. Understand you are at the gateway, and actually call the gateway district in our community. So whatever you do there has got to be 5-star, because that just will be a reflection on you. And, maybe you'll name it, Gateway Auto Group or something like that, and put it on the map.
It's used.
I tried to get another dealership to do that, but they wouldn't. So, but it's just a thought process, and it's something that I think, I know I wouldn't have a problem with. I think it's a good use of the site.
Yep.
There's no residential impact at all, 0, okay? So.
The owner next door with the new restaurant's excited about the possibility of them coming.
They're actually encroaching the land, and so I think we're going to do something along the lines of giving them an easement or variance, so they should be, because they're getting some free land out of it too.
Yeah, he's excited for you to tell us what he
You can
expressed.
actually see where Ripples crosses. This is the property line, and you can see Ripples building crosses over several feet, probably 10 feet
Yeah,
at
again,
that front
that's,
corner.
I call the sins of the grandfathers years ago.
I
didn't do it.
I'm a handshake guy. All I was looking for is that you guys, just gave me the nod that this was okay. I unfortunately can't renegotiate. I had to renegotiate the extension to make this meeting. So my hands are tied on that. I don't have that. But, if I get the nod, then I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable there.
I think you've got a pretty good
Yeah,
comfortable waters here. I think we'd like to see something, a little more.
Absolutely, that's the next step. As far, Sean, as doing this administratively, I know that we was spitballed around that this might fall under administrative guidelines. Is that something that this board could vote on eventually to make it administrative, so it moves, the process moves quicker?
So I would say no. The planning commission who hears your special land use request.
Oh, okay.
They're the final word on that. They want you to come through with the full, what they told you a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
They want to see the full package of plans.
Okay.
You have to do it anyway. You've got to put the set together anyway.
Understood.
So it may cost you a few weeks to go through that way, but that goes with, is coupled with the special land use that you'll be seeking from them. So I think that's decided. I would support the action that they've taken to go that route.
And as far as the bond or line of credit or cash surety, which, as you said, I really don't want to put $1 million cash. I mean, it's good working capital for
It's
us.
going to be based on evaluation of what amount of work is going to be done.
I think that was fairly
So
accurate.
That is speculative right now. So until those numbers are hard numbers.
Sure.
We could speculate all day long.
But a line of credit might be something that you guys would entertain under the right circumstances?
Irrevocable line of credit or something.
Sure. I just don't want to take, $1 million out of working capital and then let it sit.
The more you do up front before you start operating, the lower that number gets. So we want you to do as much as you can.
Yep.
And get
Absolutely.
as much of the site fixed up and ready to go before we start taking performance guarantees.
And for us, we
just want it
move
done.
quick. We move quick with the construction. I'm not looking to have a 3-year-long thing. I hope to have it all done in 8 or 10 months. It's just I would like to get some revenue coming in during that 8 or 10 months. It's a very expensive build, very expensive buy. So it'd just be nice to have
With a
some money.
methodical plan.
Okay.
Present it, and I'm not
Fantastic.
sure we can work it all out. But again, I think everybody here tonight welcomes the idea.
Excellent. Thank you. guys.
Mr. Ruggles sits on the planning commission, so.
Thank you.
It's going to be conveyed to the planning
Thank you, sir.
commission through the minutes, right?
Yes, well, Mr. Ruggles and I will let the planning
Okay,
commission
that's
know
fine.
that this was well received tonight.
Yeah.
Let me ask a very important question. If, you mentioned the planning commission has total say over the special land use.
Correct.
If they vote no, this board cannot overturn their vote of no?
Correct.
We would have to sue our own planning commission?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the attorney would be happy to talk to you about,
The insurance stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
What happens to me?
Yeah, that's what my concern is.
I don't want to.
Well, and I'm not going to speak for the planning commission, but I would say there was more positive than negative.
Okay.
And
And with this response, hopefully.
correct. And again, that will be conveyed back, and they're going to make their decision. And a lot of it's going to come down to how it's proposed. I mean, the more boxes you guys check through the process, the better it looks, the better it fits with their vision of the gateway, with a lot of the aesthetic stuff, the better it's going to go. I mean, it's the impact that they're trying to weigh. So if you can soften a lot of that, that's going to be a big issue for them.
Okay.
It'd be a lot better if you could get this drive all the way over to Sunny Beach Boulevard.
I can't deal with MDOT. They got us once. That was turning, closing roads is hard.
I'd like to thank you for your presentation tonight.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate
And
it.
we'll look forward to seeing something.
Have a great evening, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next item is going to be a labor agreement. Kathy? Kind of a housekeeping item.
Well, good evening. This should be the last union contract you see until '26. We settled the rest of our union agreements last year. The paid-on-call, POLC, paid-on-call firefighters did not get settled until this year. So we identified that they needed an extension, as the other groups did, through 26. However, we had a little bit of a scheduling issue trying to get our union rep available. But once he was, we had 2 meetings and this was resolved. So if you've had a chance to look at the agreement, you'll see that the wage schedule has been adjusted. The adjustment is simply a 5.5% increase over from 23 through 24, which is exactly what every other union group got. And then that's just on their base wages that they had previously. So there was no more than a $2 to $3 increase for those steps. We also incorporated the paramedic step because obviously we've made changes to the career firefighters contract and we're using paramedics. So we wanted to include that should we get any paramedics that we can supplement our workforce with and the part-time staff, we have a separate wage scale for them as well. The next 2 years, in 25 and 26, those wage increases reflect again what the other unions received, which is 2.5% in 25 and 3% in 26.
Concurrent with our other agreements.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, any questions? I think it's pretty straightforward.
How many paid on call are there?
3.
That's okay. I knew it was a small number. Thank you.
But we currently have 2 fire cadets. And that program has been working out well. Chief Holland has been providing them with training and exposing them to the other firefighters with the hopes that they'll move right into that part-time firefighter rank.
So it will increase.
Yeah, the cadet
Yes.
programs for us, for our community, have proven very, very valuable.
Okay.
Very valuable. Okay, Mr. Ruggles.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the request to approve the tentative agreement between White Lake Township and the POLC Part-Time Firefighters Union.
I'd like to second that.
I have motion, I have support, roll call vote.
Supervisor Kowal?
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Treasurer Roman?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Ruggles?
Yes.
Trustee Powell?
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees?
Yes.
Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you.
Appreciate all
Thank
your
you.
hard work.
We're handing out towels from the heat, so.
Okay, next item is request to approve the Oakland County Tactical Consortium Agreement with White Lake Township. And this is an agreement that essentially puts us with Oakland County to do all the things that are in that category. Chief, you want to, either one of you want to kind of talk about it a little? Well, I know she knows, but I want the public to understand what's done.
Agreement or the OPEC? So OPEC is a consortium that every police department.
Sean?
Yeah.
Can you take
move-
that mic over to him?
Absolutely.
So OPTEC is a consortium with all the police departments in Oakland County. We deal mainly with small squad tactics, which is, it's a nice word for saying riots. And then we do active shooter is what we do. And we all train the same way. Everybody in Oakland County, every officer in Oakland County does the same exact thing. So we can go to Waterford, we can go to Commerce, we can go to any school in Oakland County, and everybody that's there knows what they're doing and does the same exact thing. And this works for both small squad tactics and active shooter. So this is a huge benefit to Oakland County. I've heard from other states that they would love to have something like this because not many other places have it. And we are very special to be in Oakland County and being part of this consortium to make sure that we get the training and whatnot that we need to keep dangerous situations at a secure level.
White Lake has already been a participant in this consortium. This is just an amendment to the agreement.
It's an updated amendment to the agreement, yes.
Right. I'm very happy that we're in it, and I think the public would not necessarily know all about these different things that we get involved in, but it's extremely important because now everybody's working on the same page, and that's key to success in any operation.
Absolutely.
Mr. Roman.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Oakland County Tactical Consortium Agreement and authorize our officials to sign.
I will support that. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? None. Resolution 24-021, authorizing adoption of Oakland County multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan. It's just your night, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you need me to go to the podium or?
Well, the only problem, nobody will hear you if you don't have a microphone.
I'll walk up there.
Okay.
John,
Or
come
walk
sit
over
by me,
here.
right here.
Sit.
I'm not sitting by Sean.
I thought we were good now.
All right. Yeah, this is just, this plan is updated every 5 years. It's a hazard mitigation plan through the county. And it's really just it provides a snapshot of our community profile. As you guys remember, back in October, we adopted our emergency operations support plan. And that described how we would manage and provide support functions during emergency. And this is really how we prepare for mitigation and management strategies to address threats. That document is it's got to be close to 1,000 pages.
Close.
That's why you don't have it. You have a link if you want to look at it. And I would ask, please, let's not read that tonight. It will be here all night. The only thing we did change is, once the plan is written, it's written. I did request 3 supplemental revisions. We had hardened storm shelters in there, and I wanted to be pretty accurate with this plan. I requested supplemental revisions that we would remove them for now, just due to the costs. And what we're looking for, it's adopted by resolution to adopt this plan in its entirety, including the amendments.
Very good. Any questions on the board? Okay, thank you. Looking for a motion. Mr. Ruggles.
Yes, sir. Motion to approve the Oakland County Tactical Consortium Agreement with White Lake Township.
24021.
That was the,
No, wait,
wait,
we
that was
already
one
did that.
before.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're on
I'm
F.
sorry.
So motion to support resolution 24021, Fire Department Hazard Mitigation Plan and Memo.
There we go.
Support.
Motion, support, all in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you very much. Okay, thanks, Chief. Okay, item G, first reading ordinance amendment to amendment the Code of Ordinances and rescind the fee ordinance number 129. This sounds convoluted, but it's actually going to make life a lot simpler.
I applaud the clerk's office, by the way,
Yeah.
for this.
Thank you.
So,
I would like to give credit to our attorney from years back under prior administrations. She had brought this forward. Deputy Santiago and I were at MTA, and about a year and a half back, spoke with, about a year and a half now, we've been working towards this. And what this does is gives us the ability to, instead of going through ordinance, it gives us a fee schedule. And the fee schedule will take out the publications, which will save us thousands and thousands of dollars to the taxpayers. And as you're current aware that publications and papers no longer exist, so we're having a harder time, more difficult time to find papers, which we were lucky to after the PCN spinal column went out of business. So by this, we're going to be able to save man hours and staff hours, and
it'll just be done by resolution.
we're going to just be done by resolution.
Yeah, which makes a whole lot more sense.
And again, I'd like to thank Lisa for.
It was Douglas.
It was both of you and the MTA, so it works out great for the taxpayer.
Any questions or
Thanks,
comments from the board? With that, I'd like to move on to second reading of the ordinance amendment to the amended Code of Ordinances and rescind the fee ordinance of number 129.
Support.
My motion to have support
I'll
by
add it.
Mr. Roman.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, great. Item H, Resolution 24022, approving a tax sharing agreement between Oakland County, White Lake Township, and the White Lake Township Corridor Improvement Authority. We've gone to great extent to craft this arrangement. Mr. O'Neill.
Thank you. The quick stroll down memory lane on this is that we started about 15 months ago, and I guess, and the goal was to create a corridor improvement authority. A district had been created, but we seated as an authority, and by we, I mean you folks. And we developed the plan and the tax capture and began in, actually, the plan was approved in November of 2023, November 28th of 2023. And at that point, the two-month process, the two-month waiting period where any of the taxing jurisdictions had the ability to opt out began. Back on January 9th, the Tax Increment Financing Ad Hoc Committee and considered the plan and gave us good feedback on the plan. Then went to finance on the 10th of January. They gave us good feedback on the plan as well. and then the Board of Commissioners on the 18th opted out, which we anticipated. By opting out, I mean that their general tax collection, their transportation tax collection, and the Parks and Recreation tax collection, those are the three, I should say, millages that the county controls. So they opted out, and we knew that they would because that's their policy. And then they directed the Corporation Council and planning staff to work with our group to put an agreement together. We kind of went back and forth and worked very well together over those last several months. And last week, on the 14th of May, last week Tuesday, the tax sharing agreement went to the Tax Increment Finance Ad Hoc Committee. A couple of changes that I want to point out that were made at the request of some of the county commission members was that some prevailing wage language be added to the agreement. They decided to not opt the transportation capture in, or the transportation millage in. That represents over the next 20 years about a $670,000 difference. But they did say, and it was included in the agreement that you have for you tonight, that we have the ability to go back almost like on a case-by-case basis, as if it were a grant, and seek funding for transit components of our Corridor Improvement Authority plan. So that was a positive. And then the Tax Increment Financing Ad Hoc Committee saw this, as I mentioned, on the 14th by 8-0 vote. They made a recommendation to move it along to Finance. Finance was the next day, May 15th, and by a 7-1 vote, the Finance Committee recommended to the full Board of Commissioners the approval of this agreement. So that's great. These two bodies are pretty representative of the County Board of Commissioners. And so tomorrow night, this agreement is scheduled to go before the full board. We're certainly optimistic that it'll be moved forward through the board process, given the success we had through the committees last week. Did hear late in the day today that there may be some language changes that are being sought by the county. That hasn't been provided to me. I just heard about it today. I don't know what's going to happen as a result of that. Obviously, we're really out of time here. This has to be, as everybody knows, to the state of Michigan by the close of business on the 28th of this month in order to capture the 2023 year, which is important. The other taxing jurisdictions, which are the Huron-Clinton Metro Authority and the Oakland County Community College, stayed in, didn't have an agreement. We're fine with our plan and our capture, as well as our own local millages. Those are all moving ahead through the process. It's these last two, which would be the county operating and county parks, that are really involved at this point in the agreement. So we're optimistic for the meeting tomorrow, and our recommendation is that the board take action on Resolution 24-022, subject to the County Board of Commissioners taking concurring action tomorrow night. It doesn't normally move forward in this way. Usually they would do their thing and we would kind of come along after, but because of the timing involved here, we really don't have a lot of dates left on the calendar. So I did make them aware during the two committee meetings that we would be taking action on this, or considering it, the board would be tonight, in the interest of time. And so they're aware that this is before you this evening. So if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them. And want to thank the staff and the Corridor Improvement Authority, the board members who have been involved in this process, and Mr. Bill DiBiase and Mr. Brett Razigan at the county, who've worked very closely with Mr. Dick Carlisle and I over the last couple of months, as well as Lisa and Joellen Shortley from her office. So any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Questions this time from Mr. O'Neill?
I don't have a question. I just thought I would say, great job. I know you put in a ton of work, ton of man hours. It's been very involved, all the people that are on the boards.
A lot of meetings.
Great job.
Thank you. Mr. Roman.
Yeah, Sean, just one question.
Yes, sir.
As far as a motion to approve this resolution, would the motion need to say that it's subject to no changes by the county?
Well, I mean, the motion should specifically include that it's the agreement, and I don't know if there's oh no, don't do this. I want to look for,
There's a resolution.
Agreement as presented.
yeah, his agreement is presented, and I'm trying to see. Let me scroll down here. Well, I don't have a version date, but I would say as presented in the packet tonight, and that's the same version that the Tax Increment Financing Ad Hoc Committee and the Finance Committee considered last week, so you could make reference to that. And I would certainly, again, include language that's subject to the county taking concurring action tomorrow night on the same proposal, and then allowing both the township supervisor and the chair of the Corridor Improvement Authority to sign, which is who they're asking
Can
to
I try
have.
to make a motion?
Sure. Go ahead.
No one's got one written down then.
You have a resolution in front of you. don't you?
Okay.
You just have
So,
to adopt the resolution.
motion to adopt Resolution 24-022, concurrent with the county approving the same language that is included in this packet,
In the agreement.
in the agreement.
As motion, I will support that. Roll call vote.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Ruggles?
Yes.
It's in the
Clerk Noble, yes. Supervisor Kowal?
Yes.
What about the sign?
Treasurer Roman?
No, it's already in there.
Treasurer
Treasurer
Roman?
Roman?
What?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Trustee Powell?
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees?
Yes.
All right, moving right along.
Thank you.
First reading amendment to zoning ordinances articles. This is more of a housekeeping item. We have to update things periodically. First reading amendment to zoning ordinance article 2.0 definitions, 3.0 zoning districts, 4.0 use standards, 5.0 site standards, 6.0 development procedures, and 7.0 administration appeals and enforcements. Mr. O'Neill.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? No, I'm just kidding. So before you tonight for first reading is the amended set of proposed ordinance amendments to the zoning ordinance, which we talked about a month ago. You gave some feedback, and then Mr. Powell had requested an opportunity to meet with the staff and township engineer. We did that. I think that the changes, and I don't want to speak for Mr. Powell, but I'm going to, so maybe he doesn't. No, I mean that lovingly, Mike, but, he did review the changes that are before you today and believe that they do represent his intended changes after our meeting a few weeks ago, so I want to thank him for his time. I want to thank Justin for his work on these because he was the one who put them together, and I want to thank Mike Lufkin for his feedback and input as well. But we cleaned up some of the definitions. I think Nick Spencer was involved in some of that too. Clarified some of the parking standards, dealt with some of the height requirements that we talked about in the gateway area, and I think that's basically it in a nutshell. And so if you didn't have any questions for me, the motion to move this to second reading would be in order. If you do have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
I have none, Sean, at this time. We've kind of gone over this stuff before, so I'm good with the changes that were made. Anybody else?
I'd like to make a motion to move
Please do.
this.
No. Okay. Go ahead.
To make
I would have said yeah.
It's like I must say no to my grandmother.
Just threw me off. Sergeant Arms threw me off.
I know, she threw me off too.
That's not nice. You and Mary are about the same age, right? Hey, well, 65.
I'm way older. I've got kids his age.
I say that lovingly, by the way, okay?
Thank you. Mary Early, 5925 Pine Ridge Court. I am opposed to the change in 3.1.18.d, referring to Part 23, page 251 of your packet.
Can you repeat that?
I think I'm calling out the right thing. It's regarding the change to the building height and the number of stories. I think a height of 40 feet and 3 stories is enough. Regardless of HGTV and Better Homes and Gardens raving about high ceilings, there don't seem to be any people 9 to 10 feet tall in White Lake. An 8-foot ceiling is more desirable for energy efficiency and lower fuel bills. In keeping with the vision of having a beautiful view of our lakes and trees and furthering a rural feel to the township, the only thing of 4-story height should be an air raid signal or a silo.
Thank you. I still stand by my motion to, go ahead.
So I guess I just need to clarify because right before on part 22, it does reflect what we talked about last month with the 40 feet, the 3-story is in the special land use per this board. So why does it say something different at the very next?
The direction we received, if you're looking at part 22, which is reflected graphically in part 23,
Right, the
would be to, currently it's 3 stories by right and up to 6 stories and 70 feet. The Planning Commission was good with 3 stories and 40 feet, no special land use for a 4th story. This board said, we're good with 4 stories, and there was some discussion on the number of feet. And I think it was suggested that 50 feet be the appropriate number to go along with.
Correct.
With 4 stories, if you wanted that. Now, again, this is a special land use to get the 4th story and the extra 10 feet. And a lot of that goes and kind of comports with part 24, which talks about, it brings the requirement down. Currently, in part 24, in the Pontiac Lake Gateway District, which is what we're talking about in these 3 parts that are kind of running over one another. Currently, the first floor is required to be 14 feet, and every subsequent floor is required to be 10. We're cutting that down to say the first floor needs to be 10 feet, and every subsequent floor needs to be 9 as a minimum. Some of it has to do with, some extra anticipated height on the first floor if there's mixed use, because usually retail isn't going to have a 9-foot ceiling. It's going to have a 10 or maybe a 12-foot ceiling in retail space. So we wanted to at least bring that number down a bit to allow some flexibility. So someone could come in and still have 14 and 10, but we're requiring them to have at least 10 and 9 instead of forcing them to have 14 and 10. If that makes sense.
So my only question is, do we need to clarify the graphic a little bit? Because it does make it confusing for others reading this when you see 22 and 24 and then 23, it says something different.
So part 23 does say 50 feet and 4 stories as a special land use on the left side of that picture. And then the right side is where it talks about 40.
Yep, so I apologize. I see the special land use very small under the crossed out now. So
Yeah, that's okay.
sorry about that.
Yeah, at the bottom, because a bunch of stuff's crossed out and it just,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I apologize.
So it should all be in concert now.
Yep, okay. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Hannah, where were we?
You were trying to make a motion.
I know.
I'd like to make a motion for first reading amendment to zoning ordinance Articles 2.0, definitions 3.0, zoning districts 4.0, uses standards 5.0, site standards 6.0, development procedures 7.0, and administration appeals and enforcements to move it to second reading.
I will support that.
And under discussion, I want to thank the planning staff. We did have a long meeting that day in which we went through all of those. I believe they've been cleared up. I believe we've removed all the gray that was between the lines, and I think these are great amendments.
Okay, a motion support, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Request to approve OPEB contribution, Mr. Roman.
Thanks, Rick. We've been making great strides on funding our retiree health care. At the end of 2023, we were over 75% funded. This will put us over 80. And as long as we continue to get good returns on our investments, these are invested with MERS. I see actually reducing our contributions in the future. So with that, I'm asking that all of these funds contribute the same amount as last year, with the exception of the general fund. We did cut that in half. Last year, I believe we gave $270,000. This year, we're asking for $135,000. And I'll put that in the form of a motion.
And I will support that.
Under discussion, there is unfortunately, there's a negative to this. I am in full support of this. However, communities around this state and around the country, the federal government stepping in and actually paying communities if they're too far behind on this. And so we are not going to get any contribution to this because we're so diligent and so well-funded.
We're responsible, Mike?
We're
Is that what
actually
you're trying to tell
responsible.
me?
That's correct, and it just is.
Imagine that, government responsible.
And
Oh, my God.
I can't even believe that I'm saying that the federal government's and the government's unfair to those that are fiscally
Yeah, well,
fiscally
when you're
responsible.
idiots and you can't
Yeah,
add, that's what
correct.
happens, so. That annoys the crap out of me,
Yeah.
too. Excuse me, can I say that? I just did, okay. So, moving along, we have motion, we have support, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Mr. Roman, great job.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Resolution 24024 to approve 123 Net Incorporated Metro Rack permit change of control and correction of topographical error of the original resolution number from 17-022 to 18-022.
Oh, my goodness. This is a toughie.
Paperwork error. I got nothing to add.
So moved, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you. So moved, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, carry on. Resolution,
Motion second.
correct.
Yeah, all right.
Motion second, okay.
Whomever.
Fussy, fussy, fussy. Okay. Resolution 24-025, limited tax bond series 2024 for Stanley Park Triangle Trail. Mr. Roman?
Thanks, Rick. So this is the resolution to complete the sale of bonds for $2.7 million. The proceeds of which will be used for both the Triangle Trail and to fund the first phase of Stanley Park.
Works for me.
Any questions?
Total amount of the bond?
2.7 million.
Very good, okay. Any questions or comments from Mr. Roman?
I would just like to thank the treasurer for following up on with his hard work, with following up on the bond and all the work that went into dealing with Bobby Benzinski and the group.
Yeah, good work, Mike.
Just one question. My copy does not seem to have a resolution number.
It's
24025.
Where is it?
It's the,
24.
go over one page.
025.
Nope, yours doesn't.
Yeah, I must have gotten an early edition.
24025.
It's just in an odd spot on my copy. It's not like right on the,
That's a
Yeah,
couple
mine
pages
doesn't have
back.
It's like dropped down.
Yep, it was added after.
Okay, so can I make a motion to
Yes, you say- yes,
approve
you certainly may.
resolution number 24-025 and allow our officials to sign wherever needed?
I will support that. All in favor?
I
Actually, let's do roll call.
Roll call.
Oh,
Roll call.
Trustee Voorhees,
yes.
Trustee Powell,
yes.
Treasurer Roman.
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Supervisor Colwell,
Yes,
Clerk Noble, yes. Trustee Ruggles.
Yes.
Oh, we did it.
very good. Civic Center update. We have a lot of moving parts going on right now. And I'll give you a quick briefing, then I'll turn it over out of that. We have had multiple meetings and more decisions have been made. We did a page turn on the two buildings, tried to tweak out some of the little nuances of each building. So that is moving forward. The biggest thing that I have most of the more excited knowledge on, we're actually going to work on the dam road. So, and that's going to start Thursday. So Elizabeth Lake Road is coming out. The library will be open all the time. We have made sure of that. We're getting extra signs made. I've talked to April, the director over there, and we got a game plan put together. We just got to get with the contractor and nail down a couple of things. But that one single project there is going to change the entire dynamics of that area and how you're going to perceive it. And now in conjunction with the Triangle Trail, which is nearing completion, those are two major projects that are going to make a significant difference in the quality of life. I have seen people on that trail almost every day, especially in the afternoon and when people get home, people walking their dog, they're out there. There was a bunch of kids this morning, made me a little nervous. They were up on the 59 part of it on skateboards. So it's like, so, but you know, kids are kids, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. But at least they're not in the street, okay? And hopefully this is the step in the right direction and the hub of the wheel. Mr. Roman.
Well, it seems like we're pushing our architects to get these drawings done for both buildings, public safety building and the new township hall. We did extend that date out to June 3rd. So June 3rd, we're hoping to have final drawings. And at that point in time, we can start putting together this bid package, I'm assuming, for site work. Mr. Powell, can you add on anything?
Certainly, as part of the page turn, we've made some modifications to the site to take multiple hundreds, thousands of dollars out of the site work, hoping to bring the entire project in to budget. We also battled the architects and the manager a little bit, who wanted to put the site work off until, even bidding until September. And we, as a committee, have convinced them to go out for the site work early so that we can have the site prepped and ready to receive buildings when the buildings get bid. So we don't have to wait for the site work to be done before we can start buildings. We've also, and I think the public as well as our board members here will agree, that we spent a great deal of time making sure that the utilities necessary for the township hall and the public safety building and for the future development are all done prior to putting new pavement down in Elizabeth Lake Road.
Well, novel idea.
Yeah, we thought we'd do something novel and actually do the underground before the paving this time.
Now, if I can only get consumers' power to understand that.
Okay.
Still working on that. I can't believe that.
So I'm very, very pleased, and we should be very excited as a group when we see this work started.
Great. Okay, well, we're going to start all over again. Now it's trustee comments. Andrea.
Thank you. I'd like to start off by thanking the 511 residents that came out to No Haz on Saturday. It opened at 9, and by 8:30, when I arrived, people were already lining up. We didn't really stop or have any lull in the action for 2 hours. It was great. June 9th is the police open house here from 12 to 3. My husband will be behind the grill slinging hot dogs. I will be helping him, and I just want to thank Justin, our staff planner that just recently left us, for being a great advocate for White Lake and pushing Parks and Rec forward. Sean, you have big shoes to fill. And I'm not talking yours, I'm talking the person that replaces Justin's.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. I wasn't sure.
thank you, Justin. You are a great asset. You will be sorely missed in White Lake Township and at our Parks and Rec meeting. So thank you. And I'm all set. Thank you.
Mr. Roman.
As always, I want to thank all of our residents for coming out tonight to the board meeting, as well as all those at home watching. I'd like to congratulate our new police officers again, and congratulations to our fire department personnel that were promoted. And really looking forward to seeing this Elizabeth Lake Road work start.
Absolutely. Mr. Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I wanted to let everyone know that we had a very good Department of Public Services advisory meeting. Seems like 3 weeks ago, but it was yesterday. In which we went over all the provisions that White Lake Township would like to present to Commerce Township, with the end result. White Lake Township receives the sanitary sewer services from Commerce Township. And the agreement really runs out the spring of next year. And so, no, fall of this year. And we are trying to get the provisions modified to be able to be in the best interests of the White Lake Township residents and businesses. So we're looking for overall a major drop in tap fees, and that's huge. And we're going to be having we voted to have a meeting with Commerce Township sometime in the next 30 days. So that's going forward. I want to personally thank Justin, and just as Trustee Voorhees here said, he was a very intuitive and smart youngster, and we're going to miss him here in White Lake Township. We thought he might have been the future of White Lake, and that wasn't to be. Also, I want to thank this board and the residents for the time that we trustees were able to spend up at the Michigan Townships Association conference up in Traverse City. We missed the other board members that couldn't attend, but I learned a great deal, and I missed our other board members that were not there. The ZBA meets this Thursday night, and we have another full meeting. And so hopefully it doesn't go till 1 o'clock in the morning like it's our record, but we hope to be wise in our judgment in granting variances on Thursday night. So thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you, Mr. Noble.
I'd like to thank the residents for coming out. Apologize about the heat. And again, reiterate what everybody said. Justin is still alive. So he's still here in White Lake, so we'll be able to see him hopefully. And going to miss working with him. He brought a lot of laughter and really my 29 years of doing public service, he was a lot of fun to be around and going to miss him and wish him well. But
yes.
Those shoes might be filled someday when Director O'Neill moves on to retirement someday. So there, never know how life comes back around. So
20 years or so, I should be ready.
Ready? 20?
Maybe.
And that's it. I just want to thank everybody.
Okay, Mr. Ruggles.
Thank you. Yep. I'd like to say that as far as Justin goes, I was really hoping he would stay. He's a really great kid, really smart, and brought a lot to the township. He'll be missed, definitely. Hard to replace. He was like a young Sean. The Planning Commission will be meeting on June 6th, and just like to give a shout out to the police and fire departments. I was able to attend a field trip with my son to the police and fire, and they do a tremendous job. All the guys and women that work there are just great, so really appreciate that. And we're so lucky to have, especially the police here in White Lake. You know, we have our own police right here that live in our community. It heads and tails above all these communities to the north and the west of us, not even close. I mean, Rose Township, no police. I mean, this is just tremendous, so thank you to them.
Okay, Trustee Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. As already mentioned, I just want to reiterate that the library will be able to, you'll have access to the library the whole time for the Elizabeth Lake Road construction. You will likely have to enter off of M59, but you can get there. Don't worry, I know some people had some concerns. And the library's programs will go on as usual through the project. Their summer reading program has kicked off. It's June 3rd, will kick off June 3rd through August 10th. That's for all ages. They have a lot of fun stuff planned, so please check that out. It's free to sign up and register. This last week was Michigan Police Week and National Police Week as well. And I just want to take a minute to recognize and appreciate our police department. May 15th was National Memorial Day for fallen police officers. We have 17,000 sworn-in police officers in Michigan, and our own police department, as you saw tonight, is growing. And I'm so pleased to welcome 2 new officers and 2 new women officers. It's very exciting to see as well. They had an excellent, their police foundation had an excellent and successful fundraiser last week, and I want to thank them for putting that together. That goes right back to the children of our community here. And then they have their open house on the 9th, as mentioned, from noon to 3. I also want to congratulate the new fire department and firefighters and the promotions that take place there. Hazardous Waste Day was very successful. I want to thank the staff that came out. We can't do that without them, as well as the residents that participate to help improve our environment. And I want to, of course, wish Justin well. And I want to thank Sean. He did an excellent job mentoring Justin. He did an excellent job giving Justin a lot of experience that he can take along with him as White Lake, a little bit of White Lake as he goes. And I just want to let Sean know how appreciated you are. This is going to be a little bit of a bumpy road that we're missing. We're a man down in the planning department, so everybody be kind to the planning department right now until we're able to fill that position, and we look forward to having a new partner for Sean. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very good. Sean, you're a regular Obi-Wan Kenobi, okay? You are just like the go-to guru guy for planning, and I certainly appreciate all your work. And yes, Justin will be sorely missed. I felt that he definitely had a future here in White Lake, and it was just not in the cards. So I have been out in the public where I can. I was recently at the library, and I did a presentation for the library staff on the Civic Center, Town Center District, and all of the goings-on, tried to brief them as much as possible, so they really knew the real story, and they appreciated it because they sent me back with quiche and donuts. So it must have been good.
I should have come.
You weren't there that day. And it worked out. I've also been at a couple of different homeowner associations meetings by request, and there are a couple other events around township planned, and I'm willing to come to gather 2 or 20, it doesn't matter. So if you want to know what's really going on, give my office a call and get a hold of Kelly, and we'll try to set something up. So with that, I say I appreciate the board that I work with and all the cooperation that we've been getting from everybody, because this has been a really, really, really busy time. And when you really look down the barrel of what we've got going on and what we're going to be having happening, that's a whole lot of stuff. So with that, I say thanks, everyone, for being here. Thanks for being out there in TV land, or now it's, I guess it's TV land, cable land, whatever you want to call it now.
YouTube land.
Yeah, YouTube land, that's what it is. Thank you. And I say good night, God bless, and motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion, support, all in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.